Hey, it's David Weiner, writer and director of the In Search of Darkness documentaries. You are listening to the Horror Squad podcast.
Hello, welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast, episode number 199. Tonight we're talking about two movies, Slumber Party Massacre Part 1 and the remake out in 2021, currently streaming on Amazon Prime. We do have a guest interview. Steve?
Yes, we do. We interviewed the writer and director of In Search of Darkness, which is the horror documentary series about the 1980s. There are two parts available on Shudder right now, and they are currently about to go into production with part 3, and that's David Weiner. So just stay for the end of the episode and listen to that interview. It's a really cool guy to talk to. If you've seen the In Search of Darkness documentaries, it's a really, really cool resource to learn about 80s horror. And I even asked him what films he thinks we should put on our top of the 80s list for next year's episode. So very interesting interview. So check it out.
See, we got Sam in her Dare to be Great shirt, I think.
Dare to be Great?
Dare? Is it a Dare shirt?
It's a Dare shirt, yeah.
Okay.
Was that the saying for Dare?
I don't remember. I'm just throwing it out there.
I don't think it was.
No. Steve is looking radiant as ever, and Joe is a
Always.
cowboy tonight.
Yeehaw.
Howdy.
You should wear that to work. That should be your new look.
Yeah, you like it?
Just one day, just show up and don't even say anything. Just act normal.
All right, I'll do it tonight. So Sam got a Forever Purge promo box, and it came with a cowboy hat. So I decided to wear the cowboy hat tonight for the listeners who have no idea what we're talking about.
So how was everyone's Halloween? You guys do anything fun?
Joe and Stam should go. Joe wanted to cancel tonight because he was so hungover, I think.
I mean, yeah. I was more tired than hungover, honestly. I'm still pretty tired now. I got a little nap in though, so get that energy back up. Yeah, we had a great night. Salem downtown was crazy and packed. Like every Halloween it is, but it was live music and bands and great people watching, and yeah, stayed around. We saw like a little bit of the fireworks, right, Sam? We saw it from that far, right?
Do not remember seeing any fireworks last night.
I thought we saw one. I thought we could see them.
Only fireworks in the bedroom afterwards. Hey.
No.
No. Oh, I was trying to set Joe up, but never mind.
Sadly, no.
Awesome. What did you do, Todd?
First half was trick-or-treating, second half was giving out candy. I pretended to be an animatronic, a Scream one, and I got a couple kids successfully, and made a new best friend, this little girl that I tried to scare, and she gave me like the most annoyed look ever. And her mom was like, nah, she's a huge horror fan, you can't scare him.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that was pretty cool, but overall it's a good night.
What about you, Steve?
It was disappointing because it fucking poured rain.
No.
So I couldn't do my display again. It's becoming a fucking tradition. Now, of course, it's beautiful today, but yesterday it was an absolute dreary day. So all I could do was put out inflatables on the yard and do stuff in my garage. I dressed as Twisty the Clown, and it's a trick-or-treat mask that I was wearing, and it's a really, really good mask if you've ever seen it. So much so that at one point I just stood there and I just wanted to see what people's reactions were, and people thought I was the animatronic. And they were coming up to me and taking selfies and saying stuff, and then I would scare them. And then when I really clued into that, I really use it to my advantage. I do different things. I'd stand at the side of the driveway. They'd kind of look at me, walk by me, get their candy, and then I move to another spot, and not move, and it would confuse them. And I just did a ton of stuff and had a lot of fun, kind of scaring the older kids. I stay still for the younger little ones, but if you look, if you're over 4 feet tall, you're fair game as far as I'm concerned.
Steve, you looked so amazing. Joe had showed me a picture and I was like, what the heck? You do look like an animatronic. You looked so good.
Yeah, it's that mask, man. They did a really good job, and what really sells it is the eyes. It really looks like real eyes, and yeah, it's awesome. It's an awesome mask if you ever find it out there. It's fun though. Despite the rain, I still got like 100 and so kids come over and check out my stuff.
I feel like that's a lot, right?
It's less than what I used to get in my old neighborhood. It's the first time I did it at my new neighborhood, but I'm not surprised because I was the only house on my street that had any decorations. A few of them answered the door, but as far as decorations went, but someone up there game big time. A little bit further down my street, not only were they giving full chocolate bars, but they were giving these wrapped shot glasses with actual alcohol in them to the parents. And I'm like, fuck, that's a competition right there. So
wow, you better watch out.
Yeah,
Me and my wife actually got beers from somebody. They had a
Awesome.
side table for adults. Yeah, they had the little individual shot bottle things and then some beers. So that was cool. I would love to do that one year once the kids are done trick or treating. I'll do like a hot dog, grill out some hot dogs.
You passing out hot dogs again? It's like
I love hot dogs, dude.
It's like you're calling just to
I love
pass out hot
dogs.
dogs to people.
Hot dogs are great.
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel that's a new trend that's starting. I only saw that for the last like 2-3 years, where people are starting to give out booze to the adults or water bottles or whatever the case may be. And I like it. That's the unsung heroes of Halloween are the parents who have to like stand there at the end of the street, do whatever their children probably hold the heavy bag. It's good on them.
Yeah, my coworker actually does that. He makes sangria and like hands out cups, and it's like I feel like that's like what you're taught not to do. Taking like like you're not supposed to take like weird candy from strangers, but as an adult, someone hands you a cup of alcohol, you're probably taking it. You're gonna drink it.
Yeah.
So
We're also getting in cars too that we order on an app. So
yeah, very true.
all different times.
Yeah.
That's great. It was a lot of fun. A lot of compliments. A lot of people enjoyed it. So it was a good time despite the rain. All right. You guys ready to get in some questions?
Let's do it.
All right. You can ask us those questions on social media at the Horror Squad Podcast or on our Discord. A lot of great costumes, a lot of festive stuff happened in the Discord, but that doesn't end because we are Halloween 365. So it's still going on. So join us. Just send us a message if you'd like to be a part of that, and we'll send you the link. First series of questions from Chuck, Captain Amazing 85. He says, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Like
Wow,
Halloween.
what a serious
Or just
adult question.
General.
It's general, I think.
Oh.
We know Sam wanted to be a tornado chaser.
Oh my gosh, I wanted to be so many things, you guys. I wanted to be a dancer for the Lakers dance team. I wanted to be
Why the
backup-
Lakers of all teams?
Just because I feel like, well, back then, I don't know about now, but they were like held at such a standard, kind of like the Dallas Cowboys cheerleader, but for basketball. I wanted to be so many things. I used to want to write music and be like a producer of music. I wanted to direct music videos, like all sorts of stuff. More like entertainment.
Well, now you're on the Drew Barrymore show. So
Yeah, can we talk about that just really briefly? Yeah, that was awesome. Like,
Yeah.
watch the segment.
Thanks.
How'd you feel? How's the feedback on that? And how did that all come together? Like, did you choose the 3-4 places? Are you allowed to talk about it?
So, I mean, I think I am. So I gave them a list of like my favorite places that I like to support. And I just was like, these places are good for shopping. These places are good for something to go look at. And these are places to do something at. So they picked the 3, which I had worked with them in the past anyway. So like I kind of already knew them. So that part was easy, but it was really stressful. I'm not going to lie. Like, it took me like all weekend, even weekend to like a week and a half to try to submit all of my footage clips because it was just so hard. And I learned a lot, honestly. And then Joe thankfully helped me filming all of that stuff. And then I was like, I don't know if I want him to use my nice camera because like it's hard to see if it's in focus. And I was like, I know it'll be safe with my phone. So let me just do that. And so we used my phone instead. But when I started, Joe, it was like hard to direct him because he's just not used to like seeing with the eye and stuff like that. Not that I am, but I knew what I wanted. So I was like, I should have gotten someone else to help me. And he's like, yeah, you should have. Like, it was a disaster at first, but then we both were like, it's fine. Like, we're wanting the same thing. So we tried not to argue about it and it was fine. But it was so exhausting because I had to like round everyone up. I had to like have them sign all of the contracts. I had to figure out what angles I needed to get, what I was going to say. Like it was just crazy. It was like being all parts of it, you know? But yeah, it was cool. And then there was like another shop. We were by one of the places and she was like wanting to get her child on the show. And she was like, "Oh, are you with the Drew Barrymore show?" And I was like trying to introduce myself, just telling her we're locals, and she didn't give a shit. And so she was like, "Here's my daughter. She's great on camera." I don't know if I've told you this before. She was just like, "But here's my daughter. Like, she'll say whatever you want her to say on camera. She's ready. Like, honey, say something." And I'm like, what the fuck? But it was really cool.
How old was the kid?
She was young, like
Like
I don't know,
5?
yeah, like 7.
wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
congratulations, Sam. I bet that's a huge weight off your shoulders once it was all done, submitted, and aired,
Yeah,
right?
I felt so good once it was done, but like during it, like I just kept kind of breaking down and crying because I was like, this is so much to go through. Like, it's like,
Stressful.
it is very stressful. Yeah, but then after,
Got Joe yelling at you. I said action.
well, I was just like,
This is the
Smile.
opposite.
I was like, no, because I was like, tell me when you're recording. He's
I
like,
would've shot it for you,
okay,
Sam.
go.
Just letting you know.
And I'm like, just communicate with me because I don't know what you can see. And so he'd be like, let me move closer. I'm like, no, Joe, you tell me. Like, I want the angle. You tell me to move closer or further back. Like, it just, our communication was not on the same page when we first started, but it looks really good. And I'm really thankful that Joe helped me on that. So, but yeah, it was cool. Thanks for asking about it.
No problem. What about you guys? What do you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a detective.
Oh.
That was like always my dream. But I didn't want to be a cop. Like I didn't
You
want, like, you know,
gotta
I didn't
start
want.
with the cop, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. Like I didn't
I
want to
never
do
knew
like
that.
I
Yeah,
didn't
you
want
gotta
to do
step stone.
that. Yeah, I didn't want to do the stepping stone. So I did go to. That's what I went to college for. Like I went to college for criminal justice, and then like I just like hit. Yeah, I had that epiphany. I was like, I don't want to do the bullshit before you become a detective. Like I don't want to do the street patrols and all that shit. So yeah,
Don't
I
get
ended
yelled
up.
at by random people.
Yeah, that too. I was like, I just want to solve murders and cases and stuff. But yeah,
You watch the
So
first
that-
48 and you're like, I want to do that.
right, exactly.
That's me.
I mean, 7 was definitely like one of the reasons. Like watching that at a young age, I was like, that is awesome.
Like you and your guidance counselor in high school, like, I want to be Brad Pitt in 7.
right.
Can we do that? You want to be an actor? No, I want to go after serial killers. Oh,
I do wish I got into like filmmaking though. That is one thing like I like I look back on, I was like, I should have got into that, but oh
yeah. I
well.
wanted almost same thing as Joe there. I wanted to be a cop, but I wanted to be actual patrol and stuff like that, and then eventually be a detective. I actually got pretty far in the process a couple times and just never worked out. And then I decided to join the military, and then after that, it was like priorities were a little different, like having to make money for your family and stuff, and not wanting to risk being hurt and things like that. So also why I didn't pursue filmmaking is because like it's really hard to get in. Steve can attest to that. It's like you make no money and it's like a struggle and shit like that. So now I'm where I am. So cop and filmmaker were my two.
Yeah, and I not cop, that's for sure. One of our good listeners is a cop though, so shout out to him. No, me it was film. It was definitely a filmmaker. I also like on the more surreal side, I wanted to be a paranormal investigator because I was so fascinated with ghosts and stuff. And it's around the time X-Files was around and like just that kind of stuff. It just fascinated me. X-Files, Unsolved Mysteries, sightings, all that shit was all in the 90s. But yeah, same thing as Todd. It's contract to contract. You never know if you're going to get work. And what happened to me, and I think it happens to a lot of people, just in between trying to do stuff, I got a real job, and that job was paying so well that I couldn't like leave that job, to go on a shitty contract to film some obscure TV show, to kind of get experience. So you really have to want to go for it if you want to be a filmmaker. All right, next question from Chuck. Which squad member's house would be the best for a slumber party?
I think
I feel like
Steve's.
either Steve or
I think
Todd.
Todd's. And
I was gonna say Todd's.
I'll say what gives you the edge, Todd, is the arcade machines for me.
Oh, okay.
That's the one thing I don't have. I have an arcade basketball game, but other than that, I don't have the cabinets.
I thought you were gonna say my hot dog maker.
I won too, so.
I love
I
that
was
fucking
gonna
hot
say
dog
your
maker.
backyard.
My backyard?
Yeah, because I feel like you have a lot of trees where
Not
someone.
anymore. That was my last one that I moved out of because it was
It's
like a
bare
nightmare.
It's bare now.
Not bare, but it's not the forest that I used to have.
Well,
I was just say Steve though because he has the coffin and like random
mm,
themed corners, like his Beetlejuice that he showed off this weekend at Discord.
mhm.
So I live in my
Sam,
house, so I'll say Steve.
Sam would be the best slumber party host, I would say. But yeah,
Thanks.
I'd go Steve or Todd's house for best slumber party
I
area.
feel like Steve would get not Steve. I feel like Sam would be stressed out about us having a good time.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Having a good time. Yeah, we're good. Good. Are you sure?
Be like, guys, you got to stop the pillow fight. There's just feathers everywhere. It's getting really awkward.
I'm just
for
trying
me.
to rip apart a pillow.
Yeah, right.
Good scene. Good scene.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's for sure. All right, next one. The original was directed by a female director. What are other movies directed by females that you would recommend?
I believe the remake was directed by females.
All the Slumber
All
Party
of them.
Massacres were
Okay.
written and directed by
Awesome.
females.
Very cool.
I say Jennifer's Body.
Which is God, I forget her
Is
name.
that Diablo?
Is it
Double
used now?
Cody?
Is that what her name was?
Diablo Cody.
Yeah. So I think.
We actually did a episode about this where I think we each gave our top 5 female directors or top 3 or something like that. On our
Yeah, we
women, I think
did.
it was a women in horror episode.
Yeah,
we did.
American Psycho was at the top of a lot of people's
Yes.
lists. So was Pet Cemetery, if I remember.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, I'd go American Psycho. For sure. Yeah.
The Invitation is a good one.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of those Fear Streets are the same female too.
Yeah, and that was cool. Tigers Are Not
Mhm.
Afraid, Joe. I know you watched that one too.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So there's definitely some good ones.
Yeah, mine would always be Near Dark, Catherine Bigelow, something like that. Which is my favorite vampire movie. So Near Dark.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oscar winner.
Was it for what?
She won. She won
Oh,
the director
for the Hurt Locker.
Hurt
for
Locker.
Hurt Locker. Yeah. Mhm.
Garbage ass movie.
I never saw it.
I like her movies, but that one didn't super do it for me. Like
Yeah.
I prefer Jarhead as far as for that same kind of subject matter where
Yeah.
you know about snipers and shit.
I saw some really good Jennifer's Body costumes
Costumes?
online. Yeah.
Halloween costumes, nice.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of
There's-
costumes, what costumes, like cool costumes, did you guys see this year during Halloween?
That's a great question. What did we see last night?
That is a good question.
There was some great, like honestly, like just like regular slasher costumes. We saw a lot of Michaels, a lot of Jasons, a lot of Freddys. Sam got a picture with a really good Jason
Mhm.
and Michael cosplay that was going on. Oh man, there was one guy who was Sideshow Bob, but like in a prison outfit, and he looked
Nice.
fucking awesome. He looked great.
Scary.
Yeah, I got a picture with him. I'll have to have Sam send it to you guys.
I don't know. That Seymour guy's terrifying.
Seymour Salem. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
it's
my new
terrifying.
character. I'm thinking about busking next year, like as him downtown. Which I didn't know busking. I didn't know what busking meant until like I moved to Salem. That's just
Oh,
basically
what
being,
is
like,
it then? I thought you said bussing incorrectly.
No, it's called busking. Sam knows it better than I do. Like
yeah,
what
it's like
exact-
street performing. They're called
Yeah.
buskers. Mhm.
Is that like the witch and Jason Voorhees in Salem?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Bora. Yeah, Bora is like
Right.
probably the most famous one downtown in Salem. And who else is famous down there? Oh, there's this kid Brandon who does like amazing cosplays down there. He does Penny. He's known probably most famously for his Pennywise, but he had an awesome one last night. I think it was an original idea, but it was, what was it, Sam? It was kind of like a spacey type thing. I don't know. It was cool though. But yeah, there was a lot of really cool stuff out there this year. Nothing that like overly like sticks out in my mind, but yeah, just a lot of cool stuff.
You see anything out there, Todd, while you were trick or treating?
Oh, it's mostly little kids in the neighborhood. A lot of princesses and things.
Right. I saw a lot of Spider-Man.
Nice.
A couple Batmans. Yeah. Now, nothing out of the trick or treat, but to be fair, I couldn't see shit out of my mask. First, the eye hole was really small. And second, I didn't have my glasses on, so I really couldn't see anything. So even if they had awesome costumes, I probably would have missed them. But I saw some really great stuff online. I really love the super obscure ones. I think that's my favorite type of costume. Like I saw a girl go as the if you guys ever watched To Catch a Predator, She went as the decoy, like so.
So
she
weird.
wore like the
Oh
same
my
clothes,
gosh.
hat, and like the hamper. It was just like so funny.
Wow.
I love obscure shit like that.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's
I know
pretty
there's
awesome.
like 10 cops around her, but in the show where she has to lure them into the house, like,
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
come on in. I'm like, oh my God.
Just come on in. I gotta
Yeah.
grab something real quick. Just go ahead and help yourself
And
in.
they're like super
Yeah.
eager, like, yeah.
And they're like, wait, are you
Ugh,
sure? Where'd you go?
it's fun.
Yeah, I'll be out there in a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, make yourself comfortable.
You got pizza? Wait.
There's cookies on the counter. Help yourself.
Yeah,
My
boy.
mom
Yeah.
made those earlier.
Dude,
I
you
like
should
that-
be a bait girl, Sam.
I used to try, like I would try to bait people
Online?
online
Oh,
when I
shit.
was a kid, and I'd be like, I'm a kid and my dad's a cop.
That's fucked up. I think Sam and I did that
My
one
dad's
night.
the
when we were-
president. I'm gonna get you.
Sam and I did that one night when we were drunk. Actually, like we went into like chat rooms and we
What?
tried to catch creams.
We did.
Nowadays, they'll,
I was like,
track your
Joe,
IP
I was
and
like,
shit.
can we please try to catch a predator? And he's like,
Yeah.
what do you mean? I'm
We
like,
totally did too.
we go in a chat. I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
Watch out.
I like
we'll
how
beat you.
I like how they actually had cookies too. Like I remember like one guy like actually was eating the cookies like while he was like talking to Chris Hansen and shit.
Yeah, I think he
Oh.
offered Chris Hansen a slice of pizza too one time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got it to pizza. It was hilarious.
Like, you want pizza? He's like, I'm good, thanks.
Oh, that show is
And he makes it
priceless.
take it like with him to the
Yeah.
cop car.
I
It's
know.
It's
great.
like don't forget your pizza now.
Yeah.
Did you bring condoms with you, sir? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, yeah,
It would
but I
always be
do.
so terrifying when they figure out what's in their car. Like there would be more booze,
Yeah.
condoms. Sometimes there would be rope. Like just
Yeah.
so
Kits.
scary.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Yeesh.
My wife's been watching him lately because we talked about it a few episodes ago. That one where they caught the same guy the next day, like
Oh,
exactly,
Oh,
they're
yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh
yeah.
my god, that because that's but in the early episodes they used to let him go. I don't know if you
Mhm.
remember that.
I
they
do.
didn't have cops there.
Oh,
What
yeah.
would they say? Just say like, "Don't do this again."
They
You're
just
on
say
Essentially,
TV.
they're just
you're
exposing
free to
them.
go.
Yeah,
Wow.
Wow.
exactly. So that's how they caught the guy the second time because they let him go and then lured the same guy again, this experts, but this time it was like at a McDonald's or something.
McDonald's, yeah, I remember that. Yep.
Yeah.
And the
Oh,
guy's like, I
scary,
wasn't doing
man.
anything.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Skinny Big
right. Oh god.
I like, sorry, I know we're on the subject, but I love it. Well, not love it, but when he would read the instant messages, like, did you say
Oh,
you
yeah.
wanted to bleep and bleep and bleep her?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I thought she was 45, man. Come on. Like, what? Gosh, man.
Yeah, that show did so much good for the world, though. I'm like convinced that their
Mhm.
child predators are like less active because they're afraid to get caught and
Oh yeah.
be
Hopefully.
interviewed. You know, so hopefully, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It
Um,
came back. It came back too, like briefly as like an online.
yeah, but
only
Chris
thing.
Hansen isn't so much like that. Like he's going to jail and shit. So
Oh really? What did he do?
it's like fraud or something. Not
Oh,
Is he
nothing.
like
shit.
tax evasion or something?
Yeah, some kind of
Along
tax
those
evasion or
lines.
fraud, and then he didn't show up to court for his appearance in like a whole, but nothing, too bad, I guess.
Yeah, right.
He
But
has
thank-
a
thank
YouTube
God.
channel.
Does he?
Yeah, he does.
I
Yeah,
don't get
he
why
was.
these actors always get in trouble for tax evasion. Like, you make so much money, pay your taxes, man.
Mm.
Like
It's
Wesley
crazy, yeah.
Snipes. Come on.
I think most of them don't even like pay attention, like or whatever, and they just think like their accountants are doing it or something, and then they're just like, "Oops!" Like, but who knows? I don't know. When you're that rich, who knows like how you handle finances? Like, it's so obvious for us, but when you fucking got like millions and millions of dollars in the bank, I feel like it potentially could get missed. But I mean, the fact that you're not like making up for it after, yeah, I mean, you're going to jail.
So Tom Cruise doesn't use TurboTax then?
Right.
No, I mean, who knows? That'd be great. Imagine.
Like, you're the TurboTax preparer and he like does the customer service thing and it's fucking Tom Cruise. Like,
Right. Oh, you know what we saw a lot of down to, going back to costumes. That was the original point of this, I think. We saw there was a lot of Squid Games costumes. We saw too, even though we didn't watch the show yet, but I knew like what it was from. It was also a great I failed to mention this when we were at the Halloween party, I think, but there was a great Ichabod Crane, which you don't see a lot of. You don't see like Headless Horseman Ichabod Crane, and there was one guy who went all out for it and he looked awesome.
Sweet. All right. Chuck's last question. Sam Thulu, are we eating pizza that's been under a dead guy tonight or what?
Oh my God, that's gonna be my new Instagram handle.
There you go.
I love
Or
it.
Twitter, right? Is that what you want?
Yeah. Yes, definitely dead pizza. Pizza from underneath a dead guy for sure. Minus the black olives. I'm pretty sure there were black olives on that pizza. Do you guys like black olives?
No, gross.
Very gross.
Like
And
ruins
then
the whole dish.
I like how she was like, "Oh yeah, no anchovies on the pizza." Who the fuck gets anchovies on a pizza? You're sick. If you
That was
do.
like an 80s thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was an 80s thing.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck they were on. Like, I guess it's the fumes from the 70s or something, but goddamn the anchovies. I've never seen offered here. I don't know if that's maybe because it's an American thing, but I've never ever seen anchovies even offered on
I don't
pizza.
think I've seen it offered either.
Me
Yeah.
either. Maybe it was
Hollywood.
like all the cocaine in the 80s or something. I gave you them anchovy munchies.
Yeah, I've never even eaten an anchovy or even seen one. I don't think so.
I have a little fish.
Yeah, I've
Just
seen
like
them,
minnows,
but-
right?
Yeah,
Yeah. They're not bad actually. If you get like ones in like tomato sauce, like if you eat it like raw, it's like
Ew.
eesh. Tomato sauce is freaking good. I'll stand by that.
So next series of questions are from our buddy Mondo. How hungover are all of you?
Nothing. Zero.
I feel good now, like totally fine. This morning, like a mild one, honestly, surprisingly, I thought it'd be worse considering like we were switching back and forth between beer and liquor quite a bit. But you know, ended up being we were both fine. No puke, no headaches, I don't think. So just a little dehydrated.
My head was hurting a little bit, but I was mainly dehydrated.
And not at all for me. Not alcohol anyway. I'm so busy on Halloween because I've serious trust issues with people. So I completely do my setup the day of and to completely undo my setup the day of. So it's like from the minute I wake up to the minute I go to bed, I'm doing my setup. So
Probably get more action though if you did like a couple weeks out.
I would probably, but it doesn't really matter.
Pranksters might get you though.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. Like those 100 kids that did come. For me, what I learned from my old neighborhood, it's like reputation. If people like remember, and then they come to your house the following year, and that brings more people and stuff like that. So yeah, so not hungover at all. Next question: how were your respective Halloween nights? We already talked about that. And how much candy was commandeered from the kids, Todd?
Oh, the dad tax is in full effect here. Had to inspect all the bags. Had to take some questionable candies. Couple legit questionables. Mostly just me wanting to eat
Like
them.
what? Oh, okay.
Just like a broken seal, stuff like that. Nothing malicious. Just like, don't want to risk it now. Commandeered a couple 100 grand bars, which are awesome. Some Reese's Pieces, Reese's Cups, Twix, Snickers. I had to have it all, man. Gotta have it all. Dad tax. It's one of the perks.
What was the candy like this year? Anything good? Anything that stood out? Any weird items or stuff like that?
No, nothing weird. Like there wasn't even any cheap people that have like most dumb. People get the dum pops that are like $10 for like 1,000 of them. Like very little of that. Quite a bit of king size bars. And then we had that house that had a bunch of liquor and beer for the adults. So yeah, it was really good. I think a lot of people are pent up from being inside all the time. And Halloween was allowed last year. One of the only things allowed. So people are just happy to be out, I think.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. Last series of questions here from horror fan Ryan. Is Slumber Party Massacre 2 the greatest sequel in movie history or just the greatest in horror history?
Did he back up his claim or is he just dropping bombs and leaving?
Dropping them and leaving, I think.
Dropping and leaving.
Wow.
I actually haven't seen the sequels, so I'll have to get on that.
I have not seen the sequels either.
Sequel's crazy. That's where the guitar remake is from. Is it my favorite sequel? No, but it's really enjoyable for being like completely ridiculous. 3's pretty much the same thing too, but 2's a little bit better.
Yeah, so I saw the sequel, but it's been a lot of years since I've seen it. So I don't remember it super well, but what I do remember of it, it was pretty much on par with the first one. Kind of just ridiculous kills and kind of a ridiculous plot, but a fun film. I don't consider it the greatest sequel in movie history or the greatest in horror history, fortunately. So yeah, I'd love to know more, Ryan. I'd like to know what you liked so much about it that would give it that distinct honor. So.
Does the killer come back?
It's a different killer. It's like a rock star.
Different killer.
guy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more like a supernatural kind of thing too, if I remember correctly.
Oh.
And I think it's been a minute, but I think this is the one where it's like a girl band, and in one scene the girl's going to sleep listening to her own music, and it was really kind of strange, like a strange scene. If that's the same movie, yeah. They kind of run together sometimes.
Yeah.
But this is on Shudder for the
Mhm.
Americans out there.
Yeah, Canada too. So.
Yeah.
All right. His next question: do you think these campy '80s movies like Slumber Party Massacre are harder to remake than other styles of horror? It's just hard to replicate the '80s campy's vibe, in my opinion. Hope you all had a killer Halloween.
Thank you so much. We did. I don't think it is, because like, like something like Malignant comes to mind, which is, to me, was like an 80s campy movie. So I think it can still be done.
Is he specifically asking remakes?
He's asking, if it's hard to like, remake the other styles compared to the other styles of horror.
I'm trying to think. Have they done anything? Well, Toxic Avenger is coming out soon, so I guess we'll see for sure with that. I'm trying to think of anything else like 80s camp has been remade though.
I feel like it would be easier, I think, just because it's such a simple equation and you just add like 3 things to it and bam. But what do I know? I'm not a film director.
Yeah,
you could be.
Directed your
Yeah, you directed me.
scenes. Yeah.
Exactly.
I said fucking action, Joe. Piece of shit. All the people walking by are like, oh my god.
No, I'm just slowly crying with tears rolling down my eyes. Hi, Drew.
I wanted to say that I liked it. No, but I'm kind of getting over like everything having to be a joke. Like that was a big part of Halloween Kills I didn't like, is like everything has to have a comedic break. And even the Marvel films now is like, let's be serious, but then let's throw a joke in there. It's like, and we'll talk about this movie later, but like the whole thing is a parody essentially. So it's like, it is good, but then I don't know. I just prefer the 80s because you knew what you're going to get and they didn't really have to try,
Yeah, I kind of agree with Sam on this one. I think it would actually be easier because the expectation is lower. If as long as you just have fun with it, I think it could be a successful film. Whereas if you take a more serious horror and try to remake it, there's a higher expectation, and it's just very difficult to do that. So I think taking campy movies would be an easier style to replicate and to remake than something more serious. And that's all the questions we got. So thank you very much, everyone, for the questions. We really appreciate it. And now a word from Deadly Grounds Coffee.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds Coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds Coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
What watched? Who's got something?
I got a lot.
Lay it on me, Daddy.
All right.
So Sam's still crying. Wearing mascara.
I really the last of it, I was about to cry, and I was like, okay, I cannot like
Sam,
talk to
I would have
this
shot it
person
for
and
you,
cry.
Sam. What's wrong with you?
Oh, am I gonna pay you to come out here?
You can
Yes,
fly.
you are.
Fly.
I'll fly if I can get some
All
free
right.
burgers.
Heck yeah.
We'll give you free
Burger and a
burgers.
free museum.
Next, Todd, the next project when
I'm serious. I'll shoot it.
on
That'd
a
be fun.
different show. Okay,
Mhm.
Joe can be
Let's-
my
we're
sound
putting
guy.
it. Yeah, we're
Sure.
putting it in the universe.
Mhm.
The Samiverse. All right, go ahead, Steve.
Be awesome.
It'll
So
be
my
on
first one.
Eli Ross History of Horror. That'll be the next project for Sam.
Yeah, right. Are you guys watching that show?
No, I'm waiting for it to be on Shudder.
Oh, okay.
I wait for the podcast version of it. He does a podcast too.
Yeah.
Oh, really? And just plays. It's the same, but it's just the audio.
Yeah, like he had the Quentin one from I think last season, and it was like fucking cool. It was like over an hour and a half, I think. It's pretty good.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Awesome. So my first one this week is a 2021 film that you can find over on VOD, and that's Isolation. So Isolation is an anthology series that focuses on, I believe it's 9 different stories from 9 different writers and directors on their interpretation of a kind of 10 to 15 minute horror film based off the pandemic. So it focuses on different cities, mostly in the US, a couple outside of it, like London, and it shows just different ideas of a horror film that can be made within the parameters of the pandemic. And the rules to be accepted to this anthology series, you had to use things that were within your house already. You couldn't go and buy out any props. You had to do stuff that was within where you were and the places you had access to. So it's a really cool anthology. It's a really cool idea. I will say though that I don't know what it is. I think it's pandemic fatigue, but watching a movie a year and a half into the pandemic is like, I don't know, like I just don't want to hear about the pandemic anymore. It's been so much in my mind for the last, everyone's mind, the last year and a half that, even if some of the stories were really good, I was kind of just like, okay, I'm really over the pandemic. So I knock it points for that in a way, but it's unfair because they made it a while ago and it just happened to release now. But there are some good stories in there. Like one, for example, but there are a bunch of them. It's just about like a guy, he's in his house and he's doing like his daily routine. He's completely isolated. And all of a sudden he finds a dead body in his front yard. He tries to call 911, but 911 is unavailable. He tries to like do different things and he doesn't know what to do about it. And it's like this tragic story about kind of finding himself and then dealing with the corpse, and then he gets sick and it's just this whole thing. It's a really interesting anthology, and if you can find it on VOD, I would say it's a good one-time watch. It's not great. There are some of the stories that really didn't do it for me, but there are a few that I thought were pretty decent. So that's Isolation.
All right, I'll go through my Halloween, lead up to Halloween family watches, which were Hocus Pocus and Halloween Town. Hocus Pocus is great. I mean, I know we've talked about it to death, so nothing much there. The bus driver's still my favorite character. He's just so raunchy and it's like so far over the kids' heads, but I'm like, this fucking guy is trying to lay pipe. I like it. And
sorry to interrupt you. I wish I would have known that because the bus driver was actually signing here at one of the markets in Salem.
Dude,
and he had just like this little like low key sign and he was like, I'm the bus driver from Hocus Pocus. And like,
dude,
he's
so cool. His delivery is awesome, and Sarah Jessica Parker is like so hot. One of like my early childhood crushes, and she still looks great. I just love him. And then Satan, he's a great character too in that, and it's just a fun movie. I gotta say though, Max is a little bitch, man. Like he needs to step up. So Sam's argue with me, Sam. He got his shoes jacked. He didn't stick up for his sister.
Yeah, he does need to step up. He is a little.
He's a little girly boy. Like come on.
But he's so adorable. He's so cute.
And one question. His girlfriend's, I forget her name, but his girlfriend, her family's like Allison. They're a bunch of swingers, right? In that house.
We were just talking about this.
Yeah, because that's a weird party.
Why do you think that?
Because it's like a Eyes Wide Shut Stanley Kubrick movie kind of party. Like they go in there all wearing masks and like, what the fuck's going on here? So I think it's a swinger party for sure.
You think? I don't think it is. I think they just were doing like a Halloween masquerade, and then that's the
swinger
decade.
I like the swinger party idea.
It could be, yeah.
That's it. It's in the movie.
I think the swinger party was the party that the parents were at.
Oh, definitely. They're partying, yeah. And then Halloween Town, like I have a lot of nostalgia glasses for it. It's definitely like super flawed, but it's like also extremely child friendly. Very fun. And Marnie, man, she needs to get bitch slapped by her mom. Mom needs to slap her upside the head because she's like super annoying, super disrespectful. Me and my wife are like, the fuck is this girl talking to? But have the little girl sneak up on the bus. No fucking way. Little kid. But other than that, like it's great. I don't remember 2 or 3. I don't know if they're worth it at all, but no. But one's got his charms. But Marnie, man, gosh damn, she needs a beating.
Mm. And Debbie Reynolds, she's great in it as the grandma. She's the highlight. Oh, and the cab driver. What's his name? He's awesome. Skeleton.
What's his name?
Benny?
Oh, Benny. Is that Benny?
Yep.
Yeah. He's great.
Also hopping onto Todd's Hocus Pocus, Joe and I watched a Hocus Pocus panel reunion that was hosted by GalaxyCon, and it had Max, Allison, Ice, and what's his other
I hate
name?
them two bullies.
The other guy. Yeah, the
Jay.
two bullies. Jay, thank you. And then also Binks. Thora was supposed to be on it, but I guess she didn't show up. I don't know.
But she had a career, so
yeah, pretty
they
much.
really took the B team on that one.
But let me tell you, Omri is so stinking adorable. He has like a marijuana business, so go check it out. Max, yeah.
Oh, he's a pothead?
Yeah.
Oh.
And like he still has like his little Max California accent. It's so cute.
Sam actually said that we look like Max, Todd, me and you, like basically.
Really?
She's like, we look like older versions of Max, like what he looks like now. Yeah.
I'm at the
that's not what I said.
What'd you say?
It was you and Cliff. I was like,
oh, Cliff.
I feel like
what's his name?
I feel like you and Cliff both look like Jason, I think. I can't remember
what's
what
the
I
actor's
said.
name?
Omri Katz.
How the fuck do you spell Omri?
Omri.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, his name is literally Omri Katz. Got it.
Omri Katz. But anyways, it was fun.
Who is this? This looks like Joe to you?
No, I don't. He wasn't really listening, and so now he's confusing me because I don't know what the fuck I
We'll
said.
move on.
What are you talking about that you watched?
Well, I was going to talk about the both movies we watched.
Okay.
Do you
Let's
want
talk about Old first?
Old. All right. Go for it.
No, you go for it, and I'll just pop in and out.
All right. So Sam and I watched Old, which is the new M. Night Shyamalan movie. Basically, what this one is about a family who goes away on vacation to a resort. And the guy who kind of leads the resort comes up to them and he's like, oh, you guys seem like a really nice family. I really like you guys. He's like, why don't I take you guys over? Or he's like, I'll have my driver take you guys over to this private beach that like no one knows about. So he takes this family over, plus he gathers up like 3 or 4 other families. And you come to find out why these families in particular were all chosen. I won't give that away. But these 3 or 4 families end up going to this private, very secluded beach that no one else knows about. And basically what the big twist here is, and it's no spoiler because if you've seen the trailer, you'll know, is that everyone that gets on this beach age at an extremely rapid rate on this island. And yeah, I mean, I'll leave it at that, because I don't want to really spoil anything else. But yeah, I mean, overall, like I heard a lot of hate for this movie. So my expectations were pretty low going in, but I came out like very pleasantly surprised with this one. Maybe because my expectations were so low going in. But yeah, I mean, I think it was like a solid watch, and it's one, it won't make my top 10, I don't think, this year or anything like that. But I think, I think I gave it 3.5 over on Letterboxd. So a solid watch.
And I also enjoyed it. I don't know if it's going to be in my top 10. I have to do like a recap of what I watched because I really don't remember. But I liked it. I thought it was good. I had heard all of the negativity because that's what Joe had told me that everyone was saying about it. And I don't understand what their complaints were about it either. So I would say if you haven't checked it out and if you're on the fence, definitely watch it, and it will make you embrace the day.
I heard the acting was a problem for a lot of people.
I mean, I think it's just because there were different types of people on the island, and usually when there's some kind of movie like that, when you bring in strangers, it's always like what's the word I'm trying to think of? Like you're going to be this type of character.
Oh, like there's the jock and the
it's like obvious
person.
Like that.
Oh.
So I feel like
it's like a typecast kind of thing.
Typecast, yeah. So I feel like that's easy to think of when you watch it. Yeah, I don't think the acting was awful. I mean, there's like one character that it was a little bit too much, but I feel like that's just because that's the type of character it was.
Yeah, I had no problems with the acting. It does get like a little silly here and there.
Yeah, but not enough to for it to be an awful movie and for it to just be like a throwaway movie, I don't think.
No, yeah, I don't think so either. So I would say if you haven't seen it yet, because you've heard all the negative things, I would go and give it a shot and form your own opinion on it.
Cool. My second movie this week is also a 2021 film that I found over on Shudder, and that's The Medium. So this is a film from Thailand. It's a documentary style film where a documentary crew follows a shaman and kind of what shamanism is all about in Thailand, what god she prays to, how that all works, how she was kind of chosen to be a shaman for this particular god, and also how to figure out, because people in her family, extended family especially, are starting to have bad things happen to them and dying off. So they're trying to kind of solve that mystery at the same time with her. And yeah, and then it starts going into her niece gets seemingly possessed. So the documentary crew starts following her niece as well. And then it gets fucking crazy. It becomes kind of a possession slash, not ghost, but almost ghost. It's weird. It's the way it's filmed. It's a lot of like, you know, kind of hidden cameras within the house that are capturing the scares. And it's a really interesting film. It's 2 hours and 10 minutes long, and it takes a while to kind of get going. Like I'd say the first hour kind of drag along as they're setting up kind of what this world is all about, what shamans are and all that stuff. But once the possessions start really taking like in and stuff, it becomes a really solid horror flick. And I would argue that this is maybe the scariest film I've seen this year. Just there are a lot of really freaky moments. There's like a 15-minute period where they're going to perform the ceremony on the possessed girl, and it's a 7-day countdown. So they lock her at her uncle's house, and it shows what she's up to during the night. So on the hidden cameras in the house, like what's going on. And those 20 minutes are fucking like fantastic. Like I enjoyed all 20 of those minutes. So highly, highly recommend this one. I think Joe would particularly like this one out of the three of you, but I would say this should be on your 2021 list because it has a shot of making your top 10. So that's The Medium over on Shudder.
No relation to the game.
No relation to the game.
I'm gonna add it right now. All right. My next one is in my opinion, classic zombie movie called The Dead Next Door from 1989. And it's classic to me because when I like discovered I was a horror fan, like you go out, like that's when you go fucking crazy, right? Looking for everything. So naturally, like, you know, my first love was Dawn of the Dead, so I had to get all zombie movies. So Dead Next Door was shot on like 16 millimeter by 20-year-olds for free. Sam Raimi secretly directed it under, I think his secret name was Master Cylinder or something stupid like that. Secretly produced it. So he was funneling money to this kid essentially, and it took like 4 years to get off the ground. So him and his buddies, and it was just like, it's got a lot of problems for low budget. Like the sound is all messed up, sound is super hard to do. Lighting is jacked up a lot. The acting is abysmal at times, but like there's a lot of heart in it, and the effects are awesome. The zombies are great, and you can just tell they're having fun doing it. So if you can look past like the low budget shortfalls, this one's on Tubi, I believe. Let me double check. Yep, it's over on Tubi, and it's directed by J.R. Bookwalter. Dead Next Door, 1989. I think you like it if you're a zombie hound.
Nice. All right. Our last one, Sam and I watched, was called The Nighthouse, which is a 2021 release. This one did not receive much attention. Basically, it kind of just came and went. But I had heard a lot of like rumblings from people like on like online groups and stuff like that it was like a really, really good horror movie. So I was pretty excited to check this one out. So this one is about a woman whose husband committed suicide, and basically she believes that his ghost or some sort of ghost is haunting the house, and she starts, you know, searching into it a little more, and she kind of discovers that her husband had a deep dark secret, and I will leave it at that. I loved this movie. I really hope this finds like an audience. I mean, it bombed in theaters. Like it only made like 15 million, and I'm sure the budget was more than that. So I highly recommend people go and search this one out. It is quite possible. I mean, it's definitely my top 5, and honestly, it might be my number 1. The more I thought about it, the more I love it. And it's a movie that's definitely would make for a great discussion, honestly, because there's a lot of stuff going on in here, and it can be interpreted in a few different ways. So yeah, I mean, this was a great one, and I highly recommend this one.
I also highly recommend this one. I was going in without any expectations or anything like that. And it kind of reminds me, because it has a lot to talk about, it kind of reminds me of Gothica with Halle Berry, like just the way that it was filmed. Joe, do you kind of get that too?
I've actually never seen Gothica.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Like just because you're not sure what's real and you think you know, but you don't know, and just finding out stuff about someone that you think you know, all sorts of stuff. Did I mention that it will also be in my top 10? I can't remember if I said that. Oh, so I think that this for sure will be in my top 10, possibly top 5. I wouldn't be surprised. But it was really good. Like there were moments when I was jumping and I was getting scared. I definitely recommend it.
Nice.
That's the Nighthouse.
I'm definitely adding it to my list. It's on VOD,
Yeah,
right?
I think you'll both like it. I would be surprised if you don't, honestly.
What's the actress from, Joe? She's done
Rebecca Hall, I believe is her name.
What was the other movie we had seen recently that she did?
With her in it. That's right.
The horror movie.
Yes.
The, like short hair.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm pulling her up right now. She was in most recently.
The Gift with Jason Bateman.
That's right. And she was also in she was also in Godzilla vs. Kong. I don't know who she was in that.
Oh yeah, she's the mom. She's the one that signs with Kong.
Oh, she's Ben Affleck's love interest in The Town.
That's right. That too, yes. And she's also in The Prestige, which is a fantastic movie if you've never seen it.
Yeah, that's a great one.
I've never seen it.
Oh, it's so good.
You like that one.
Yeah, you would, Sam.
Battling Magicians.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, I really like that one. There was like another movie that came out the exact same year that also had Battling Magicians.
The Illusionist.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which wasn't as good.
They're always doing like Armageddon and Deep Impacts, things like that.
Right.
Oh yeah, that was big in the 90s especially.
All right, cool. Trivia?
Yes.
All right, this is game number 42. Ooh, the answer to the life, universe, and everything for all the nerds out there. 42. Steve knows.
Jackie Robinson.
No, we're not talking baseball. We're talking Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Kurt Stanzar, myself, leading with 102. Steve right behind me, 101. Joe, 99, right in there. Sam, 68. Who's it going to be tonight? We'll see. I got quite a bit from Kayla.
Me too.
So who would like to lead? I'm going to lead off here.
All right.
I'm going to lead off. All right. From Miss Kayla. Closest wins. What is the body count in the movie Hunt?
Oh, Christ.
Or is it The Hunt? I forget if it's Hunt or The Hunt.
What was the body count?
The Hunt.
The Hunt. Yeah.
14.
Is it on screen or just in general?
She doesn't say, so I'm going to guess that we have to know that they died. So 14's on the board.
Wait, this is the one with Samara?
No, that's the one with
that's Ready or Not.
Glover or Crispin, Betty Crispin or something like.
Betty Crispin, yes, correct. It's the one where they all wake up in the forest and they have to they get shot and stuff.
Yeah, Emma Roberts is in it and she dies right away.
There's a lot of celebrity cameo.
And then who's the big
Samara's not
at the end?
Movie?
No.
Taylor Swank's at the end.
Taylor Swank, that's right.
Taylor
She's
Swanks,
at the end. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For the record, I did not like it.
Yeah, me either.
Neither.
I don't think any of us did.
Really?
Yeah.
I think we bashed the shit out of it, but then we all did it fairly decent grades.
Right.
All right, 14's on the board. Get back on track. 14. Sam, throw a number out there, girl.
I guess 12.
Okay, 12.
I'll go. I won't be too much of a dick. I'll go 20.
Steve, you're almost right there, bud. It's 22 or 23 if you include Orwell the pig.
Oh.
Steve is on the board. Strikes first.
All right.
Wait, what movie is this?
The Hunt.
The Hunt.
Was it last year or year before?
Last year, I believe.
Sure.
Sam, speaking of animal deaths, Sam was very upset about the snail killings in Slumber
That's
Party
one of my
Massacre.
pet peeves in this movie.
Yeah, we'll talk
My two pet
about it.
peeves.
All right, I'll go next.
Fucking
since I got it.
psychopath with his cleaver.
Same type of question here.
Ooh.
So also all from Kayla this week.
Ooh.
Not including the 287 passengers on Flight 180.
Oh shit.
not including. What is the body count in Final Destination?
8.
5.
Sam?
7.
Todd, dead on the money.
Nice.
Take that. Take that.
You could have did the full amount because they do say how many people died on that plane crash. I think at one point.
287.
Oh, is it 2? Okay, is that in here? Sorry.
Those movies are terrifying, man.
Yeah, they were on AMC like all month, so I watched them in parts. Like,
Do they show everything on AMC?
No, that's a problem. It's cable, so they cut the swearing and the boobs and some of the gore. All right, who's next?
I'll go.
I will say that they're not holding back on the Chucky show, by the way, for for it being on network television.
I can't wait to start watching those.
Yeah.
All righty. This trivia question comes from Halloween Horror 1031 24/7.
Ooh, like that name.
Oh.
Yeah, hopefully Halloween Horror Night questions.
All righty.
Illusion.
Where was Beetlejuice filmed?
Rhode Island.
Maine.
We got Rhode Island, Maine.
Fuck.
Geography for U.S. Geography. For Steve.
Every fucking week, I swear to Christ, you guys with your geography. I actually saw this. I was looking at the trivia when we did.
Oh wait, I'm wrong. I know the answer though.
Maryland.
Nope.
Can we have a second guess? I'm fine.
No.
The correct answer is Vermont.
Is it?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, nice. Well, since you messed up a couple of Sam's shots, she's not giving you the point, Joe. So
No,
next
right.
time,
You
no
know.
film from below. All right.
All right.
it.
I'm sorry. Okay. First question tonight comes from Missy,
Oh,
and her trivia question is: in the original Nightmare on Elm Street, what number is on the football jersey Glenn is wearing when he is killed by Freddy?
88.
12?
88 is on the board. 12 is on the board.
69.
69. Incorrect. You're all wrong.
Damn.
The correct
1.
answer is number 10.
10.
I thought
Do we
they
know if that means anything?
I don't believe it does. No,
Oh, because you know all horror trivia?
That's
no I
correct.
don't. There could be meaning to it. Nothing I know.
All right. Tagline from Kayla. The road to survival could be a dead end.
Wrong turn.
Wrong turds on the board.
It's a good guess.
I see where you're
That's
going
a great
with it.
guess. The road to survival. What?
Christine?
Christine's on the board. The road to survival could be a dead end.
The road to survival.
Can I try one more after?
Sure. Wait, no.
That's odd.
It's probably wrong.
The road to survival is a dead end.
Correct.
Yes.
Dead end,
Good.
driving in a car.
Good.
Joyride?
question.
That was
Great.
my
No, I thought you were saying dead end.
that was my next guess is Joyride. So if it's wrong,
Joyride is incorrect. Dead end's incorrect. It is a movie that doesn't make any sense. The dead don't die.
really.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. These ones, like, there got to be someone
Fuck
other
that
than the filmmaker
movie.
that writes these. There has to be.
Oh, probably. Yeah, probably like a marketing
It's probably
person.
some
or
dude that
something.
makes like $300K a year.
Yeah.
These fucking taglines, man. I swear, guys. Tagline
Oh,
from
no.
Kayla.
Jesus.
I also have a tagline.
Oh boy.
Fear takes a road trip.
What?
I guess it's
Is
like
it is it Joyride?
No.
Dang.
Final Destination 2.
No.
Fear takes a road trip.
It's not Final Destination at all.
Oh, I want another guess.
Sam?
If it's possible.
Joyride?
I already said
It's already
that.
said.
Joyride 2.
No, it's not
Correct.
Joyride or Final Destination at all.
Is it Jeepers Creepers?
That's correct.
Nice.
Did I get the point? Because I
Yep.
didn't give you opportunity.
Oh, he's giving him the point.
Oh,
Wow.
but
I would've-
you,
I would've
when
given it to him.
Steve wanted to guess,
I
you
would've
said
given it to
hell
him.
no.
Well, I had to do it because you started the trend of not giving bonuses.
Right?
Oh, blame it on me, Todd. Okay.
Thanks, Steve. Damn, I gotta back Steve up now. Shit. Really liking the cowboy look, dude.
Thank you.
Feeling it. Sam hates it.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
I
with the
like
black
it.
sweater, it really like completes the ensemble.
I was getting so used to the blonde wig.
That's right.
Can I take the wig off now, Sam? No.
Is it my turn or is it
That's
Sam?
Sam.
I think
Okay.
it's my turn.
Sam Thulu.
All right, this is a continuation because I'm scraping from the bottom of the barrel.
All right.
Okay. So what town does the movie Beetlejuice take place in?
Oh,
Shit.
for fuck's sake.
Pretty sure I wrote this down last time for my
Me
notes.
too.
and I just deleted my notes. Actually, let
It's
me
a
see if I did delete
good question.
those.
Oh my god.
They name the town in that movie?
They do.
They do.
Yeah.
I deleted my notes.
They say it a bunch of times because they moved
Do
there.
they?
Yeah, during the real estate talk.
Huh.
I don't remember. Like it's like Hollows
Yeah.
Point or some stupid name.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Okay.
Darn.
It's Winter River, Connecticut.
Oh, I waited. Yeah, I was
alright.
way off though.
Yeah, me too.
I would have never guessed
Winter
that.
River.
Winter River.
Interesting.
All righty. Let's see here. All right. Tagline. They got up on the wrong side of the grave.
Return of the Living Dead.
Incorrect.
Pet Cemetery.
Ooh,
Good guess, but incorrect.
On the
Fine.
wrong side of the grave.
Ooh. Oh, I think I got a follow-up guess. Might work here.
I don't even have a fucking idea. I'm just gonna throw one out for the hell of it. Let's say Beetlejuice. Maybe some alternate title time.
Beetlejuice is also incorrect.
Is
Todd,
it
I will
the-
give you all another guess if you'd like. Todd
Is it the Frighteners?
is not the.
Good, that's a very good guess.
Good
Can
movie.
you read
man.
it again, Joe?
Yes.
I'll try one more.
They got up on the wrong side of the grave.
Is it Corpse Bride?
No, good guess though.
I wonder what the tagline for that movie is.
Sam, last chance.
Is it the Crazies?
It's not the Crazies. I will say this. It's tagline I've never even heard before from this movie, but apparently it's one. If Kayla gave us the question, one of Todd's all-time favorites, The
No.
Evil Dead.
Oh.
Really? I
Really?
would never have guessed
Yeah.
that.
Wow.
Huh.
I mean, it's not even like zombies or
I
like,
have, like,
like-
a
couple
I
posters
mean, they're
on there.
deadites,
Huh.
but like, there's no graves or anything.
the
I don't know.
fuck?
It's a weird
I'll
one.
look up
yeah.
Evil Dead posters right now.
Must be like an alternative tagline or
It's
something.
gotta be, yeah.
Don't see it on any of these posters. Huh, strange. I don't doubt her though. She's got her sources.
Yeah.
She does, yeah.
It could be like on a foreign poster.
It
even,
could be,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's in Japanese. No.
Yeah.
Back to me.
Yes.
Last
Okay. Last round here from Kayla. Closest wins. An Alien 1979. How much screen time does the Xenomorph have?
Ooh.
Let's go
7 minutes.
I was gonna 6 minutes.
6
8 minutes.
Oh. 8.
Oh,
Steve was
shit.
closest with 4
What
minutes.
the fuck?
Yes. Poor Joe. All right. I thought
I'm not guessing first anymore. I'm closest, by the way.
her third question was a little too easy. So I'm
What
gonna
was it?
have it was what's the name of the other dimension in Insidious? We've had it before, like a few times. And I always answer it usually.
Further.
so- yeah.
Further, there you go.
But it's not that. So it's a Steve original.
Ooh, like these.
All right.
What Canadian province? No, I'm kidding.
I was like, you fucking would.
I know a few
Payback,
of them.
bitch.
Yeah. Name me
Toronto.
5 Canadian provinces.
Payback.
There's 5.
No, there's anyways. There's 10 plus 3 territories.
Alberta.
It's one of them.
Quebec.
Also one of them.
Let's do this.
So my question: who voices Viggo in Ghostbusters 2?
Oh wow.
It's not the same person who played him.
I couldn't even tell you the actor who played him either.
No, it's a guy. It's one of the villains from Die Hard. But no, not the voice. The voice is someone else.
It's a blonde-haired guy, the long blonde-haired guy. Die Hard one.
That's Viggo.
That's who plays him. But he doesn't
Oh.
voice.
Someone famous
Damn it.
apparently voices him.
Yeah, someone famous.
Oh, it's not. He's not from Die Hard too.
No. So
Oh,
the
okay.
face is from Die Hard, but the voice isn't.
Ho ho ho! Now I got a machine gun. I love that movie.
I barely remember his voice.
You guys want a hint?
Sure.
Yeah, that'd be great.
He's a horror legend, I would say.
Oh,
Vincent Price?
Nope.
No fucking way. He wasn't even alive. No, I think
He was like right at the end of his life.
Scissorhands was the last movie he's in, huh?
what were we reading about Vincent Price? He was supposed to be in Nightmare Before Christmas.
No, in
or
Rocky Horror
something.
Picture Show.
Rocky Horror Picture. No, but he was also supposed to be in Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, was he?
That'd been good.
As one of the characters, but they said his he was like so
too scary.
frail at that
Yeah,
point
right.
that the voice they said the voice was like unusable because he was like
I can see him as like Sally's creator.
Right. Yeah.
it may have been
Finkelstein.
that.
Sally?
I'll look
I
again.
can't remember who it was. Yeah.
Horror legend, let's say
Voiced.
Kane Hodder.
No,
I didn't think so.
I don't think he was even famous at that point.
Probably not.
What year did Ghostbusters 2 come out?
89.
I don't even know if he was the Jason yet. Yeah, he probably was.
He was, but I mean, no one.
Yeah.
Tony
really.
Todd.
Nope.
Stephen King.
Why do you hate me?
No. All right, you guys give up.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
Max von Sydow.
Really?
Why don't I know that name?
He's
Exorcist.
Father Marin from The Exorcist.
Oh,
Father Matter.
nice.
Yep.
Interesting. That's a good trivia question. Now I know,
Yep.
but I will forget.
All right.
So you can use in a month.
Right, exactly. I know a lot about Ghostbusters, so it's a tough one to get me on. I watched that whole fucking documentary like recently. Sam, you're
Alrighty. What is the run time for Slumber Party Massacre?
76 minutes.
82.
Okay, well now I gotta do fucking math. Give me the hour and minutes.
1 hour, 16 minutes.
Yeah, or 1 hour,
Wait,
22
did
minutes.
1
1
hour,
hour
16 minutes.
22. 1 hour 16.
1 hour and 15 minutes, even though I think it is
Oh
76
shit,
minutes.
Todd. It's an hour and 17.
Yes.
Oh, fucking joke.
You
But I didn't
making
say
it.
I didn't say we were doing closest.
Oh,
Just
shit.
joking.
Oh.
Oh.
I'm just joking.
So I get
All
it.
right.
Sweet.
All right, last one of the night. Friday the 13th.
Let's do this, Daddy.
Trivia. What was Mrs. Voorhees' job at the camp when her son Jason
cook.
drowned? She was a cook.
She was a cook.
That is
God damn
correct.
it.
You. In 1940, Sam. Yes, he is 100 years old.
I still cannot. I can't even think about it because my mind can't grasp it.
He's fucking old, dude. I mean, so is Mike. Not as old as Jason is, though. So. All right. Let's see. 3 tonight for myself, 2 for Steve, 1 for Joe, 0 for Sammy, which leaves me in the lead at 105, Steve 103, Joe 100, Sam 68 for week number 42. Thank you, everybody.
Yes, only a few weeks left. Like
coming out of
5
the
or
wire.
6, maybe. That's getting down to the
That's
wire.
crazy.
Mhm.
All right. So
End of the year will be here before we know it. End of the year episode.
yeah, it's going fast.
It is, and only a couple of heavy hitters left.
Which
Mood-wise.
are what? Ghostbusters,
Antlers and last night.
Antlers
So
last night in Soho.
I'd
I
say
think
the
that's
big
about
three,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Halloween Kills again. All right, the Slumber Party Massacre, 1982. A female high school student's slumber party turns into a bloodbath as a newly escaped psychotic serial killer wielding a power drill prowls her neighborhood, directed by Amy Holden Jones. Yeah, I mean, this plot is pretty simple, man. Like, you got a group of hot chicks. They're gonna have a sleepover at one of the ladies' houses. You got the guys that come over to crash the party. You know, some local dudes that are friends with the girls are spying them through the window, watching the girls change clothes and giggle and all that shit. Then you got the creepy neighbor who's like, "Hey, I'm gonna watch over your daughter this weekend," to the family, and the family's like not thinking that's a creepy fucking sexual predator in the making. He's over there sneaking around. He's killing snails. And then the side plot is there's a psychotic killer escaped from a mental institution, and he's going around. He's on the loose, and he goes over to this house and he starts killing them. One of the main characters is babysitting her sister next door. She's kind of the outcast, so she feels a little bit left out. But she gets dragged into the mix as well when the victims start trying to branch out to survive. This is probably like my 3rd or 4th time watching this one. It's not like one of my favorite 80s slasher movies of all time, but it's a pretty good one. And I don't know, I just have a lot of fun with it. But there are some huge problems, which I guess we can get to later. Is this the first time watch for anyone?
For me, it is.
Ooh, what'd you think?
I really liked it. I definitely would watch it again sooner rather than later. I wasn't really sure what to expect. I thought that there would be more, um, what am I trying to say? I'm brain dead. I thought that there would be more, I guess, nudity. Like it sounded like, from what I read, it sounds like it literally like exploits women, but I feel like it's
Well,
what
more
we've
than any
already.
others, right?
Yeah, that's what yeah, no more than any other.
Plus,
So
it's directed
I
by a female, which is interesting.
And written by females. So
yeah. So I would guess I was just thinking like literally they would just be nude the whole time. But it wasn't bad at all. But I did like it. The freaking, what's the guy's name? The killer. I hated him so much. Like just his beady fucking eyes, his fucking voice, like everything about him made it made my skin crawl. Like I fucking
A
hate
storm.
that guy. He's awful. He's creepy. The neighbor guy, he's also a creep.
He's almost as bad as the fucking killer.
What does he do that's creepy though?
Okay,
Does he-
I mean,
He's
at the
fucking
beginning,
creeping on the high school chicks, dude.
is he creeping?
Was
though?
he creeping?
Yes.
He was just being like a friendly neighbor.
He's
I thought.
creeping
Like
on the high school
didn't you
chicks.
he
but
never
he
looks
left.
or anything.
He left though, Todd. Like he was like, "I'll leave you girls." So I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's nice." He was like, "Just be careful. I won't tell your parents or whatever."
Let
But
me go
you know
murder
that
all these
he,
snails.
oh yeah, he would have got creepy if he didn't get murdered.
I
But
think he was
really,
a red herring though in the movie. Like we're thinking he was gonna be the killer. And
oh yeah,
Yes.
not at all. But I will say I really liked all of the girls. I liked all of the characters. I actually cared about them. I don't know why or what really happened for me to care about them. But at the end, I was about to start crying because you could just tell like the trauma that they went through there. It shows them all crying and they're just like laying on the floor at the end. Like I felt so bad. But I really liked this movie.
Yeah, I hadn't seen this one probably since high school. So this felt like a pretty fresh watch to me. There's a couple of scenes I remembered. And yeah, I mean, I actually really enjoyed this one. This one's like a really solid, like 80s slasher flick. The drill is just chef's kiss, like just a great weapon to use in a horror movie that honestly isn't used enough, probably. Like I would love to see more like drills used. It was just perfect for this type of movie. The villain is great. Like he is so fucking creepy and just sleazy and gross, and he is just perfect for this. I love that he essentially has no dialogue until like the very end. I thought that was perfect, kind of to keep him kind of like the silent, mysterious killer until the end. And then when he does start talking, like it's just everything that comes out of his mouth is just so creepy and like makes you like a little uneasy. So just perfect casting, I thought, for him. I don't know if this guy went and did anything else or this was like his only thing, but he was great in this. And yeah, I mean, I thought the acting was, for like a movie like this, I thought the acting was pretty solid, like all the way around for like a low budget slasher film. Like I thought everyone did a really good job. Super like simple, basic storyline, but like I never found myself bored. And obviously, I'm sure the runtime helps out a lot. Like 76 minutes was like perfect for this. Like nowadays, people will stretch this out to like a 90-minute movie and it will drag. But like you don't need to do that. Just make it an hour 16 and it's fine. And it's perfect the way it is. You don't need to make your movies 90 minutes. So when I'm a big advocate for that. Like I say that a lot on this podcast, like it did not need to be that long. This movie was the perfect length and it really helped. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, we're big advocates of just film the movie that you need, not run time for nothing. Yeah, same thing. I really like this movie. It's not like one of my favorites from the 80s or anything. Like it wouldn't appear on my top 10 or even near there, but it's it's like a fun watch, something that I'll revisit every 5 to 10 years and enjoy it for what it is and then move on. And it is what it is. I wrote a fucking ton of notes though on this movie. I don't know what the hell I was on that night when I watched it, but just a little like it's just like little observations and nitpick, not even nitpicks for some of them, but really random shit too. I don't know what the fuck I was on that night, really. Like probably just tired. Like for example, what kind of fucking monster pours a can of Pringles into a bowl? Like that's not how Pringles work.
Oh my God.
That's what you got.
and
Yeah,
similarly, they have a fucking bowl of Twinkies. Like what the hell is that?
I know.
Easy access.
It's just weird to me.
Twinkie
They're gonna
pie.
get stale. That's why they're in that little like wrapper. That's the whole point of the damn Twinkies. Shout out to Sylvester Stallone on the Playgirl. That's a Sylvester Stallone cameo there. I thought that was hilarious. It's also interesting to know that this is written and directed by a woman, because there are some very like gratuitous scenes in this. Like there's a shower scene where it literally just pans down to a girl's ass,
just the booties, baby,
and then back up for really no reason, like other than kind of exploitation. So yeah, for sure. But it's just weird that like a woman would choose to do that particular shot, and it's like she makes sure that she gets every girl's tits. So that's another thing so stuff like that was kind of weird. It's just a bunch of little nitpicks. I don't want to take them all in case you guys have some of these, but Todd, what do you think of this movie?
No, not a lot. This movie has the 3 Bs, which I'm sure Sam will appreciate. It's got boobs, butts, and babes, because all the chicks are incredibly good looking in this. But it is kind of heartbreaking though. Like once I started reading about the actors, the girl that played Valerie, the older sister to the younger sister, those characters, she actually committed suicide when she was like 30 something. So kind of a big bummer there once you read up on these people. But the girl throwing the ashtray out the window, like, come on, why are we littering? Put it in a freaking, I don't know, bag, tie up the bag up, throw it away. And I think a lot of the guys are out of the leagues of these girls in this one. Kind of like a miscast in there, but especially the dude in the car in the garage. I'm like, this guy's not landing her. Let's just be honest here. Similar to like Devin Sawa and Jessica Alba. It's just not happening in real life.
Oh, right.
But that's and then the creepy doll in a room in the middle. Like, why would you sleep with that weird doll? Like, it's fucking terrifying. But nothing crazy. It's a silly 80s movie, so comes with the territory, I guess.
Yeah. A few more that I had. So how did they not see the guys in the window or hear them? They're having like a full ass blown conversation outside right next to where the girls are, and they somehow like don't acknowledge them at all.
They knew. They were showing the good stuff.
Double pane glass.
Maybe. Well, no, the
window was open.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that was weird. How old is the younger sister supposed to be? I thought she looked way older.
Yes.
13 going on 30.
Yeah, she acted young, but she looked so old. It was really off-putting to me.
Hey, she was making out, dude.
Right.
She was beating guys off in the 5th grade. That was the line the sister used. No, Sam and I noticed that too. Like we were discussing that. I was like, she looks older than her sister. Like it's so fucking bizarre. Like just pretty funny.
Yeah. Would you eat the pizza under the dead guy? Because I'm like, what the fuck? Like, there's no way I would touch that fucking pizza at all.
I would. It's not like his blood seeped through it. Like when that girl was like, I eat when I am stressed or when I don't feel good. And she's like eating. She's like, I already feel better. And Joe and I were like, that's me.
Yeah, that was an odd one. Although I did like the way that pizza guy's eyes were like, hollowed out and shit. That was really cool. Did you notice the girl who, when they're in the bedroom and he's coming out like kind of the window going after her, she just like her friend gets attacked and she just pieces out. She's like, doesn't help her at all. She's just like, I'm out. Like, I thought that was hilarious. I got a good pop out of me.
Did you notice that one of the girls, I can't remember who it was, she's trying to attack the killer and she comes in with whatever she's going to stab him and she like shuts the door behind her and then she runs to kill him. Like, it's like, you're not going to fucking shut the door behind you.
Right.
And she wasn't being quiet. She was being loud, I was like, what the heck?
Can't let the draft in.
I guess so.
The villain, the only thing that kind of made me laugh was the villain. Like he runs so like awkwardly in this movie.
Yeah, he runs like he's got a little shit in his pants or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Or he's holding it in.
He's creeping.
So his plan was just to take a nap on the floor, trying to pretend he's dead to trick the girls. Like that, I don't know. That seemed a little far-fetched to me personally. Like, I don't know. What would you guys think of that? It was just a weird plan to me.
I think like it added to just like his psychoticness, like, and he's like a mental patient. So like, I just took it as kind of his mental capacity.
Yeah.
How do we know that he's a mental?
They say it on the news. Like there's a news
do?
Report at the beginning of the movie. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What did you guys think about the woman who was the telephone? That was her occupation, the cable person.
Oh, the hot telephone lady, like at the school, and then the guy is like hitting on her, and then she gets murdered. She's the first murder. Yeah. I liked
Yeah,
her.
that's out of random, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I
Super
appreciated
random.
it. I was like, oh, they made her have like what normally you would think of as like a male's career. So I thought that was interesting.
Mhm. Yeah.
Briggs Stevens for the low budget people. She's a second victim in the
Mhm.
gymnasium.
Yeah. I do find it interesting though, and I mean, obviously Sam can speak to this more since she's a female, but I don't understand why this movie is considered so, I guess, like exploitative to women, because like I've seen way worse like than this, and I know we kind of touched on it, but I mean, I guess I'd like to hear Sam's perspective.
I feel like I don't know why it gets a lot of hate, because if I was an actress, I would much rather be in this type of movie and like I would get naked for a female director. With a male director, more than likely no. I don't know. I think it's because people were thinking like you're a woman, so why would you exploit them? But I was reading, she talked about like if it was a male person that did it, like no one gives a fuck. Like they'll go see it and they can make all of this money off of all of the actresses. But she was like, when it's a female that does it, like all of a sudden that's when people care that women are getting exploited. And it's like, I don't know, wouldn't you rather be part of like a female team and do something like this than just do it for some man?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know why it gets so much hate, because it's nothing more than what we've seen in other movies.
No, like, yeah, I mean, we've seen way more. This is like tame compared to other stuff. And honestly, like you can honestly argue, in my opinion, that it's almost like a women empowerment movie, because at the end they all team together to kill this murderer. So yeah.
I think the reputation is 100% because of the box art. So when people were going to video stores, they see these girls in skimpy outfits with a guy with a drill between his legs, and thought for sure that's an exploitative movie without actually watching it. And I have a feeling, if I had to guess why it has such a reputation, it's strictly because of the box art. So
yeah,
that's
Steve makes a good point, because I feel like I've seen this cover for a while now, and I did think it was going to be like super risky, I guess. Like I thought he would be like cutting off their breast and like just like it would be gnarly, like insane stuff, but it wasn't. And two, you have to think about back in that time, like it wasn't heard of a female doing like this type of horror movie, I don't think. So maybe they were also surprised by that, and it was just something new. So of course you freak out when you're not used to something. Did you guys know that the girl that's on the cover on the floor, she's actually not in the movie?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
She got cut out or did...
I don't know. I just saw that on trivia. They didn't say why, but I'm sure we could look it up. But they said that the girl on the floor, she wasn't in the movie.
My guess would be they probably did the cover art after the movie was filmed, and they couldn't get like all the actresses back or whatever because they were in different locations. So they just did that. Yeah,
or they replaced her. It happened with Elena Quigley in a movie. I forget which movie it is, where they did all the like the special effects, like props before the movie, and they fired the actress because she wasn't good enough and wouldn't do nudity. So they hired Linnea Quigley, but when she dies, it's still the old actress's like head that decapitates. So it just happens in movies like this. So that could be a reason as well. The three last little nitpicks I wrote were, one, so there's a scene where one of the girls takes a handsaw that's plugged in and like runs after the killer with it still plugged in. I thought for sure she should have died, like with her, like a self-kill. I thought it was almost cheap that she didn't. Like I thought that was a missed opportunity in my opinion. And the other two I have, one, this drives me nuts because I see it all the time. Why isn't in horror movies, whenever someone takes a fireplace poker, they never use the pokey part? They only hit them on the side of them. It's so ridiculous. Like, yeah. I don't get that
That's
at
a
all.
great question.
That is an egregious part of this movie. Like there's one scene where like it does a close up of her beating him with it, and you can clearly tell it's like a prop like thing.
Right.
Like it fucking like bends.
Yeah, for sure. And my last one is, there's no way a fucking machete breaks the drill bit. There's just no fucking way, and it happens in both movies.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I don't, unless it's already like damaged somehow. I just don't believe it.
Killing all day with it.
He has been killing all day with it. It's just, I don't know. It's, to me, that was a little ridiculous, but it's a movie, so it's a
Walmart drill bit.
Yeah, right.
Right, exactly.
Great value.
We got to do a Mythbusters on this now.
Right, do it on the job site tonight, Joe.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I can find a
hat.
machete. I don't know. We don't have machetes at on hand, but you know,
That's a
I'll
missed
see what I can-
opportunity in real life now.
Yeah.
That's all I had.
Yeah.
But I don't want to say all my nitpicks means I didn't like the movie. It's just things I happened to notice while I was watching it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my only like real nitpick is, and it's understandable, obviously, because like I know it was like a low budget movie. Is I wish we got like more creative kills with the drill, or like more gory stuff with the drill. It was mostly, you know, off screen stuff. So that's really my only big negative with this one.
I was trying to see how much money this movie made.
Couldn't have been a lot.
Can't imagine a lot. Yeah,
It doesn't have how much it made, but it cost $250,
250,
$250K to make.
Mm-hmm. More than I thought, honestly.
That's a lot of money in '82 though for a slasher.
That is, yeah.
But yeah, like you guys said, there's a lot worse movies out there. Like one that jumps in my mind is Don't Answer the Phone. That's like brutal, like every woman's evil because you know what I mean? Like a guy wants to kill every woman because he hates women. It's like
Right.
that one's really bad. And this
Well,
one's
I mean, like Last House on the Left.
yeah,
like,
yeah, good point.
Yeah.
This is nothing. Like
Mm-hmm.
you want to rate this one now?
Yeah, sure.
I give this like a solid 8 out of 10, or 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 7.5 out of 10 on this one. I enjoyed it.
I'm gonna go an 8 as well.
And with Joe, 7.5. It's an enjoyable watch.
Mm-hmm.
All right, brings us to the remake, 2021 remake. I don't agree with this this write-up from IMDb. A feminist remake of the 1982 slasher film about sorority girls attacked by a maniac killer with a large electric drill. I'm not a woman, but I didn't see like feminist, like the definition of feminism in this movie. Maybe I'm wrong, Sam, if you want to jump in, but I thought it was like a good parody, making fun of like 80 slashers having the girls be the damsels and the guys be the heroes. Like they flipped it on its head. I wouldn't necessarily call that like a feminist. I just call that like a fun, hey, we're flipping it, here's a parody of us. But if I put my foot in my mouth, Sam, stop me.
No, I was gonna say maybe that's just what they mean. It like because they spun it around that it's like, hey, we're for women. So
Yeah, but the original was directed by a female and written by a female, like a woman.
well,
So
I think it's because I mean I didn't look into it, which I probably
Yeah.
should have, but I think it's because the original got so much flack that they were like, there's not going to be any like boobs. We're just going to show like the hot guys. Where usually it's the hot girls. Like it's going to be that
They
instead.
showed the
So
hot
I
chicks,
think
though. They were still like in their little shorts and stuff.
yeah, but they weren't like in the shower naked, showing their hot abs.
Unfortunately,
and pecs.
well, because it was a
and
sci-fi
their
movie. They couldn't
hard
anyway.
nipples.
hard nips.
Yep.
Yeah, I once again, stop me if I'm stupid, Sam, but I always didn't like the argument that horror was feminist or against females or whatever, because like girls are always the victors. Like there's final girls, there's not final guys, and the girls always outsmart the killer. You got like Lori, Heather Langenkamp, like they're all victorious, and I just always rubbed me the wrong way when they would say violence towards women's male fantasy. Like, no, man, like the guys obviously in the remake are stupid as fuck, but even in the original, they're like doofuses. Like they're played it for comedic value, and the girls were the smart ones. So it's like, I don't know. That always,
yeah.
Does that rub you the wrong way sometimes, Sam?
I mean, I'm like you. I'm like you. I'm like, well, there's always the final girl that survives because she's smart and she is careful choosing her steps of surviving the killer. I think it's just if they're new, if it just goes back to the nudity. I don't think it's necessarily violence on women, but I'm sure that there are valid points for that side of the argument. But I think it's scarier when it happens to a woman. I don't know if that's because people think we're weak, or if it's scary to me because that's me. Like I can see myself in these movies. So yeah, I agree with you, Todd.
So, all right. So anyway, the plot for this one is it starts off kind of similar to the Friday the 13th remake when there's kind of a mini movie. There's a traditional slumber party sleepover with the good-looking girls and all that stuff. It's party crashed by our killer, and he goes through killing all of them except one, who turns out to be fast forward maybe 20 years or so, and the survivor of that is the mother of a new girl that's going out with her friends, a young group of women going out to the same area that the original killer was at because they want to do a murder tour kind of thing. Spoiler alert for this movie: if you haven't watched it, don't listen to the show anymore because we're gonna spoil a little bit. But they go to the same area of the original killer because they want to find him and kill him. So they set up like the scene where they're going to pretend to be damsel in distress, or, sleepover stuff. They're eating pizza, they're drinking booze, they're being careless because they want to lure the killer in and kill him. But the difference with this one is they flip it where the guys are like obviously like cardboard cutouts. They even call them guy 1 and guy 2 for a couple of characters. They're the ditzy ones. They're the ones that are focused on for being, hot, close up of their bodies, pillow fights, which is, I think, freaking great scene. Shower scene, close up of the guy's butt, things like that. So yeah, I thought I was going to hate this movie just on face value, and in a lot of the reviews I saw, and especially when I saw the IMDb feminist thing, I was like, oh, I don't want it to be this kind of movie. But honestly, was pleasantly surprised. I like super love it, but it's like a solid middle ground movie for me this year. I'll say my rating for it, but overall I enjoyed it. I do have my problems with it, but we can wait till we're all done.
Is guy 1, guy 2, Big John, Little John?
No, they're not. I like this movie better than Halloween Kills.
You also failed to mention the awkward jerking off scene at the beginning of the movie too. That fucking like that dude who's just like watching them jerking off. It's so
when he's like
weird.
Pervert, but he's the one being a pervert too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then
That guy was weird.
He was a loser. The way he was talking to his girlfriend, he's like, look what you're wearing, you whore. And she's literally wearing regular PJs. Like, what the heck is
She's
wrong
way
with
too hot for him too. What's up with these guys overshooting, man?
Yeah.
Sam's like, look at Joe.
Well, now you got the cowboy look on. She can't dump you now. You got the fucking boots.
All right, I'll go next. I'm the opposite of Todd. I did not like this movie at all.
Shocker.
Really. So
Wow, male misogyny right there, dude.
Yes, yep.
Well, cowboy hat and everything.
Exactly.
Flipping it.
So I think the idea was like interesting and good, and there were certain parts I did like to this movie. I think there is a good movie in here somewhere, but it's just like, to me, it's just like all over the place, like tonally. Like I feel like they like went from like they go to like a serious movie, and then like they throw in these like little jokes where they're literally like looking at the camera, almost like not metaphorically like looking at the camera, like, hey, did you get that? Did you get that joke? And to me, that just did not land. I felt like none of the comedy they tried landed in this, to me personally. I also did not like the twist of when we find out that they went to the cabin to like lure the killer. I did not like that. I just wish they went straight like parody, or a straight like Slumber Party Massacre parody, rather than like doing this like weird shit. Like the weird shit it didn't land for me. But I did like the scene, like Todd said, with I liked how they did kind of try to do the role reversal there by like objectifying the men rather than the women. I thought that was like funny, and I did laugh at that. But yeah, overall, this was a miss for me.
Okay, so I will say so I liked it. It took me a long time to get attached to some of the characters. It wasn't right off the bat like it was the original for me. I agree with Joe. I wasn't crazy about the twist of where they were planning to get him. I also didn't like that it was in a cabin. I wish it would have been in a house. Like, it was so Friday the 13th for me, where I just was already like, meh, I'm over it. But eventually, I will say half through, I started liking it, and I was laughing at all of the jokes. And I'm just saying, like, women love spending money. I don't know why there's not more movies made like this. It doesn't have to be like super campy or super cheesy with like the comedy, but I'm like, women want to see, like, we want to see hot guys on the screen. We want to see like almost shots of their freaking penises. Like, we like sex too, people. Hello. I'm trying to think, what else did I like about this movie? Okay, the killer was like pretty much twins with the killer from the original. He had like everything down to a T. I also hated him. And I was so, when I laughed because at the end, when they kill the killer, they're like, someone needs to watch the body, and they just like keep hacking at him. And I'm like, yes, do that. Like, that's how you're supposed to kill the killer, to make sure that he doesn't come back alive. So I really appreciated that. But then you kind of see what else happens if you've watched it. But that's all I'll say for now.
All right. So I think
Get that list out, Steve.
Yeah, I got my list going. I'm a little closer to Joe on this one. I actually watched it originally, and I was curious what Sam thought of it, saying that Joe and Todd would probably hate it. But we decided to review it because I guess we could do the original at the same time. It was a good excuse to do it. And I didn't like it on my first watch, but I did rewatch it today. And I was curious to see on a second watch, knowing what the movie's about, really, if I was going to like it anymore. And no, not at all. I still don't like the movie. I thought it was interesting, the scenes where they did the role reversal. So when they were showing the scenes, like the pillow fight, the going down to the guy's butt, stuff like that, I thought was really clever, and I really like that. It's when they wrote scenes, like the dialogue is so fucking poor and forced in this movie that it made me cringe really bad. Lines like, out of nowhere, a guy says, my toxic masculinity is forcing me into it. Who the fuck says that? No one fucking says that. That's not a real word. Like, it's
I
so
say that.
Not even if you're self-aware.
No, that's not that's like written. That's not actual dialogue. It was so poorly written, in my opinion, that hurt the film tremendously. And I didn't think it was all that well acted either. I just didn't believe these characters. They felt like forced characters. Whereas the first one, like the original, felt like natural people. Like they felt like real people going through the situation. This one just felt like written characters going through the situation. And I just did buy a lot of it. So that was a big problem for me. I did think the kills were really cool, particularly the kill like where the guy's face is being drilled and you see his like face just like shaking and like blood coming out of it everywhere. When the girl gets killed by the car, and when they push the hood down and the fan like destroys her face, stuff like that, I thought was really cool. But overall, I have a lot of issues with this one, and I just didn't like it all that much.
One thing, maybe I missed it. Did they explain how Russ Thorne comes back like 20 years later or whatever, looking exactly the same?
No, it
like,
just shows
that's
up.
never.
They don't even know if he's alive. They go through this plan, just hoping he's alive, essentially.
Right.
That was a big problem with me too, is the plan. The plan made no fucking sense. They come with these shitty ass weapons. Like, she goes with a 4-inch knife, thinking that's gonna stop that giant drill if he gets there. And the girl wears like these breast like implant things. Why? That would not have made a fucking difference in your plan at all. But they had to mention it. She had to pull those tits out and like throw them on the ground and like, oh, these were so uncomfortable. Like, why? It made no
feminist thing,
sense.
man. They're getting rid of the booby upgrades.
It's weird. It was just weird. Like, this movie is just
the enhancements. Oh, now that you guys are talking about it, I'm liking it even less. What I liked about it though was, like, I think Steve mentioned that the guy, so specifically the guy scenes where, like, that's how guys act. Like, I act so stupid when especially when you're younger, when we're together. That's how dudes act. Like, people think we're just like talking around, like walking. I don't know what they think we're really doing, but that's what we're doing.
Tell Joe that, because he was like, guys do not do that. And I'm like, yes, they do.
You didn't fucking try to like rip shit apart, and like your friend would be like, dude, my dad's gonna fucking find this pillow. Shut up. And you're trying to break stuff. Like, we just do that shit constantly.
Yeah, I mean, we never tried to like rip a pillow, but
no, not that specifically, but we destroy shit.
Oh yeah.
But no, I like that stuff. But then, like, for the things I liked, like that whole random like comedic timing cut to him trying to rip a pillow apart, and then you have like Steve's line, like, my toxic masculinity is like, oh, they're trying to be like very in like, look at us, what we're doing. And I thought, apart from the lines being cringy, because I think that's what they're going for, it was like really trying a little bit too hard to like be clever. And then if you're trying too hard, it's no longer clever, because we're like, you got to be more subtle with it. And then the kills, like, I really like the kills, and I like the girls for the most part too, and I like the characters. I just didn't like the look at me, like how fun we are.
Yeah.
Aspect of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I say when I say I think there is like a good movie in here. Like, I think you make this more subtle and not like literally looking at your audience, like winking at them, and I think it's a better movie. But that is what totally throws me off and just makes me roll my eyes. And it just, yeah, I mean, some people maybe like that type of humor. For me, it doesn't work when you kind of play out with the audience like that. It just, I tend to like it. It sort of like breaks that fourth wall to me, and it just never like works for me personally. But I will say I did like the kills. I thought the kills in this were better actually than the original. Like they were more gory. It was more what I wanted from that original movie. So that is the one positive I guess I would take out of this. I wish honestly Russ was in it more though, like Russ Thorne. Like we barely see him honestly, and he's killed off like fairly quick, without really much drama or suspense. So yeah, that was kind of a bummer.
An example of a subtle like joke, which I thought was really funny and clever, was when the dudes are like not listening to the girls, and the guy's like, he puts on a sweater and zips it up and it says bros before hoes. Like, see, that's funny because it's subtle, like, and it's not like in your face. It was just kind of a funny joke, you know, that I liked. Like that kind of stuff I thought was fucking hilarious. Same with the pillow fight and like the shower, like I said before. So that's the kind of stuff I like, but it's the other like really forced dialogue ones that really made me cringe in this movie. It's
I did like the flip when the two guys first show up to the cabin, and usually it's like a girl, like when she gets attention, she wants to be mean. She's like, I have a boyfriend, but then like he's like very quick to like, I have a girlfriend. It was just like, I don't know. It was a really fun like delivery that he did, and then he ends up being the guy that has the ass on display and stuff.
Because he's like the boy next door, you know, he's the one that everyone wants.
Oh, the tall,
hot one,
glasses. Okay.
Yep. Also, I feel like obviously this movie is not geared towards you guys, but I feel like it's the perfect like teen horror movie if you were a teenage girl, like
a 16-year-old.
Yeah, because it talks about like kind of what's going on with the toxic masculinity and all of that stuff. Like I think teens would really enjoy this movie. And plus it's sci-fi as well, which when I saw that, I was like, oh, hell. But it was better than I thought for a sci-fi movie. So I give it extra points for that.
I guess for every like ghost shark you get from Sci-Fi Channel, you get one of these, huh?
Mm-hmm. It also reminded me of Final Girls. That's what it kind of reminded me of.
Final Girls, I thought
don't insult the movie,
yeah,
please.
that's the thing. See, Final Girls is like this
I'm
movie
not
done
saying
right.
I'm not. It did do it right, but I'm saying this would be like the TV movie edition.
Yeah.
The sci-fi edition.
The sci-fi edition.
Exactly. It was yeah, and oh my god, Sam touched on it a little bit. Fuck, every time he spoke, I was just laughing my ass off. Like the killer. Just,
hey, I love you.
You're pretty. All of you. So pretty. Like, oh my god. It's like, shut up. Don't say anything.
You want it.
Yeah, it was just so cringy. I would have kept him quiet, to be honest with you. Just it didn't add anything. It didn't add any fear, if anything, and made him ridiculous. But maybe that's what they were going for, like how fucking ridiculous this killer is. But you're right. I wish it had been him the whole time. The mom twist I saw coming like the second they walked into her store. You know, it was stupid. I didn't like it at all.
No,
I do like all of the callbacks that they did in the remake.
Yeah,
like, that was cool to see.
Yeah, that was fun. I haven't seen the sequel, but I recognize the guitar, as you know, I've seen that in a lot of forms and stuff. And they even bring back the duck light from the first movie too, which I thought was pretty fun. But yeah, there are some fun callbacks. So I mean, at least they did that. Has this director done anything else, by the way? Do we know?
This girl from the
this female director.
I don't know.
I like that they recreated the shot of him with the drill between his legs. I thought that was cool. Just like stuff like that.
Are you looking it up, Todd?
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you, Steve. I did not like the mom like angle. Like it was like really like unnecessary, and it didn't. It honestly didn't add anything. She did what?
Banana Splits last year.
Oh, interesting. I mean, that was good. I really enjoyed Banana Splits movie.
And some other random stuff.
Oh, cool. All right. I knew the name sounded familiar.
Does that change your perspective, Joe?
No. No, she went down. She went downhill. Go back up. Go make more Banana Splits movies, please.
You go make it. She's doing more than you are, man.
She sure is. That is very
true.
Toxic, Joe. And her name is Danishka Esterhazy. So
Mm.
I'm assuming
Alright, girl.
Europeanish name.
All right. So
Danishka, cool name.
well,
Or
it
Russian,
looks like
maybe?
she likes to do horror comedies, so maybe
I
she'll
like
stay
it.
on that line. Yeah.
Don't tell her
Well-
what to do.
I said maybe. I don't know.
She doesn't need your validation.
All right. Well, I want to hear from the two people that did like the movie. What did you think of the mom angle?
I mean, I didn't really like it. Like, it was too Friday the 13th for me. Like, it's right on the list of did not enjoy, like the cabin, the mom. Yeah.
At
I
least
honestly
Pam-
don't
The
remember anything.
trickery of it all.
At least Pamela Voorhees was tough. Like
Yeah,
this
she's
girl acted
babe,
tough
too.
when you didn't know her, but as soon as they reveal her, she like breaks down and becomes a super weak character. Like I wish they'd kept her tough, like Pamela Voorhees, just a total
How did
badass.
she break down?
She started crying and started.
No,
becoming
because she
this
was
whole-
trying to trick the girl.
Yeah, I don't know. Like she does it too much to.
No, like you almost felt bad. You're like, shit, she's not the killer, but then
Right.
she gets
Yeah,
you.
yeah. She tried, but even at the fight, like at the end, it just. I don't know. I expected her to be stronger of a character.
Okay, but I have a question. What about the nail gun? I feel like that's impossible. Literally, she was probably like 20 feet away and they were still coming through the house.
Yeah, it's
Not
not-
only through the house, but through the tables that they were hiding behind
You have to have pressure on the gun too, I believe, to
Yeah.
even make it work.
for
Mhm.
it to go.
Yeah. Safety
Mm.
feature. So it's not like a fucking gun.
Exactly.
Honestly, I forgot everything after our Russ, whatever.
Character
that's when
dies,
that's when
yeah.
I tuned out. I was just
Mhm.
doing reports and stuff. So I was like, eh.
Yeah, it's like they like had the movie written and then they didn't have enough runtime, so they just like, all right, let's do a twist and we'll add this mother character in because like yeah, it's like like nothing interesting happens like after the Russ stuff like at all. It is very forgettable. Like really the only parts I do remember is like the Russ parts, and then after that it's like
What would you say is your favorite kill in the movie?
I like the one
Mm.
where the one you mentioned in the forest where the guy's guitar and it gets broken and then his face gets scrambled.
mhm,
I
that
like
was
the
really
scrambled
good.
face too.
Yeah, I like when the drill just goes straight through that dude's head and like it's still go like on and you can just see it like spinning and it is in and out of his head. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, even the first in the first series of girls, like in the past, the girl gets in the throat. Like it was pretty. Even the shot of the girl's hand being drilled through looked really good. Like it was a really cool practical effect. So they really did a great job with the kills and the effects and stuff in this movie. So it's really a
Mhm.
shame that I thought the writing didn't kind of keep the same pace.
Agreed.
It kind of had the same tone to me as the babysitter too. Like
Yeah,
Yeah,
which I
I
didn't
can
like
see that. Yeah,
much.
which I didn't like that one either.
Yeah.
yeah, babysitter 1 was pretty good, but 2 was like kind of
Mhm.
Yeah.
kind of had like the same kind of like in
Yeah.
metaverse kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a good comparison.
Rate it. All right, I started higher and then you guys started talking. I'm like, okay, so I'm at like a 6.25, which is still pretty good for this kind of
Yeah.
movie. Or
I
2.5 out of 5.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps I'm being a little too tough on it because it is just a sci-fi movie, right? Like, but I just had way too many problems with it for me to enjoy it. I'm giving it a 4.
Oof. So was Leprechaun Returns though, right? Sci-fi, and we like that.
Yeah,
With Lin-
I
with
think
Lyndon
was it
Brokoff?
sci-fi? Yeah, Leprechaun Returns
I'm
was
pretty
solid.
sure it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Better than Origins, that's for goddamn sure. I'm gonna go with a 5. I thought the kills were good enough to warrant like having some points. It's just the writing really killed it for me, so I'll go with a 5.
I don't know. I feel like the writing was done on purpose. Like I feel like I don't know. So I'm gonna give it. Would I watch it again? Maybe later on in life. So I'm gonna give it 6.9, I guess.
Ooh,
Sex.
Yep.
my winner.
Yeah, although I did get some of the biggest laughs I've had all year. Like that fucking pillow fight really made me like, I thought it was
Yeah.
fucking
I was
hilarious,
thinking
so,
too, like, have you ever had feathers in your house? It sucks.
yeah.
Like from a pillow.
Mhm.
It's so annoying.
Yeah.
And they
my
had, like,
dad
thousands.
fucking used a feather pillow.
Yeah, my wife
I
does.
hated
Fucking
it.
hate-
Yeah. I couldn't get comfortable with that.
They
And they like
Poke
poke
ya.
out and stab you.
yeah,
Yes.
right.
Get in your eyeball. Fuck,
Yep.
man.
I remember growing up, my parents had a water bed. And it's
So
like,
do mine, dude.
How did
They were
people
swinging
sleep
the
on a
It was a big
water
thing back
bed?
then. Yeah.
Like so uncomfortable.
It is.
What's that? Nightmare Part 3, right? Or is that 4?
Yeah. 3.
Waterbed.
I
It's 4.
think.
It's
No,
4.
4. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It is 4 with Joey. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
I'm afraid you like drown. Like it pops and you fucking fall in.
I needs a room. Just I like fuck up your whole house. Is that
That's true.
That pops,
Right?
you know?
Yeah.
God.
I remember my parents used to pop all the time. They'd have to buy like patches for it, like
Jesus.
because like I used
Because
to
you
be,
guys
like,
are getting
I
fucking
would, like,
crazy on
no,
it.
like I would like jump. I would like I was like as a kid, like I would like jump on it. It was like so fun, and then I would like fucking pop it, like whoops.
Yeah, it's not a trampoline.
I know, but God.
So I think we all agree the original's the superior film.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
All right, cool.
definitely.
I regret paying $5.99 to rent this. I wish I could have found it for free, but that was my own fault. I didn't watch it on Sci-Fi when I should have.
Yeah, that's weird. It's not like free so it was free
Yeah.
like on Sci-Fi for a time, and then it just went away.
Yeah.
Yeah, free in
So I
Canada,
guess-
so that was awesome.
Oh, there you go.
Bastard.
that's why I watched it twice, because it was free. So
Nice.
yeah, never watching it.
Finally,
Did
you
your
got
wife
one
watch
over
it,
us.
Steve?
Nope, I watched it alone both times.
Mm.
I'm sure it will be free very soon though, because like I feel like
Yeah.
now that Halloween's over, they'll probably just like push it to their free, like on demand or whatever. But their original is free like everywhere. So if you want to watch the
Shit,
original, like it's on
Yeah.
Tubi, it's on Amazon Prime, like-
Shudder.
Scream Factory's got a
Shudder,
good
yeah.
Blu-ray for the collectors out there, and a cool figure too.
Yeah, now I want to get the figure now that I rewatched it because I really do like his
The figure's
character.
dope.
It's probably expensive now, right? All those Scream Factory exclusives are pretty pricey.
Was it exclusive though? Because they
It
keep
was.
saying it is, and they fucking re-release them. And
Oh, did they re-release? Yeah, well, they haven't re-released.
no, they've done
that.
that a few times.
They have, but they haven't. I know they re-released the My Bloody Valentine one, but I don't think they re-released this one. So, and I don't think they ever will because the movie's not that like popular. I feel like that it would warrant like a re-release. The Angela one, I think, will get re-released because that one is like the price on that is like skyrocketed.
Yeah, it's
You can
funny.
get it for $69 right now,
69, yeah,
or
not terrible.
40 bidding.
I mean, it's not terrible because it's like a NECA figure is usually like $40 anyway. So
I can't find part 3 anywhere. Like I can find 1, 2 in the remake, but not part 3.
I forgot where I watched it. It might
I
have
don't-
been.
I don't know what the
I
fuck.
think it might have been on DVD actually,
Yeah,
which
it's,
doesn't
it's,
help.
it's one of those things. Like I find that a lot with horror series for some reason, where there's like 1 or 2 movies I can't find like, of the series. Like I mean, even Friday the 13th. Like try to find Jason X. It's not really anywhere. Like unless
They got a
you
couple
own it.
Blu-rays of it now.
Yeah, if you have it on Blu-ray and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but not like on streaming. They always stream the first 8, and usually not 9 or 10. It's just one of those things. You know, a lot of horror series I find have the same thing. Like a good example is Return of the Living Dead. I can find 1 and 3 super easily, but 2 I can't find anywhere. It's a pain in
It's
the
a
ass.
Blu-ray, buddy.
Yeah, but they get expensive too, right? If
I know,
they're
yeah.
not re-released or whatever. So
Well, you can buy this just in Slumber Party Massacre Part 3 on DVD for $148.99.
whoa,
Yes.
so is it? Wow, so it is a tough one to find.
Wow.
It is, yeah.
Maybe it's on like YouTube for free. I know a lot of those
Maybe,
old
yeah.
horror movies end up for free in places like that. But yeah, I'm looking up right now and I can't find it streaming anywhere like for free
it's
or
weird.
for even money or even for money.
Right. Yeah, that's just one of those, like, you know, I guess different distributor or something. And
Yeah. Kinda
everybody-
like,
Here it is.
Oh,
YouTube.
it is on
Yeah.
YouTube for free. Nice.
It is.
Awesome. So
easy
there you go.
plays. It plays too. Yep.
Nice. Awesome.
Cool.
So next week, big episode. It's the
Oh,
big
it's gonna-
200.
200.
Yeah, we're super prepared for it. So it's great.
Not doing a fucking thing.
Yeah. So we might change our mind, but right now the plan is to throw it to the listeners. Give us ideas as to what to review, anything you want. We'll pick our 4 favorites, like each pick 1, and then put it back to the listeners to pick whatever it is. And then we're going to try to find a few other special things. We're working on an interview. I don't know if it'll happen or not. That's why I don't want to say who it is. Yeah, it's like 50-50.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
He's on the-
Yes.
Yeah, it's
I
the ghost of
wish.
Vincent Price.
He'll be the Joe's mom will be on the contract.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll figure something out to make it special. I might do a hangout because I missed it for Halloween because my sister came up with her kids. So maybe I'll do that. I'll just follow us on social media, especially the Discord, and I will kind of convey all that stuff.
For those book clubbers, you got a couple more weeks to finish Chasing the Boogeyman.
Oh, you guys pushed it a couple weeks?
Pushed
Yeah,
it,
with
yeah.
Halloween, it's just
Busy.
like
Yeah.
everyone's busy.
I thought I was going to finish, and then I ended up finishing it pretty quickly. But
Is it worth a read?
no, not to me.
Okay.
Personally.
I was gonna be like, maybe I'll jump on and join in, but if it's not worth it, I won't.
Eh.
Well, you guys are 0 for 2, it sounds like, then on your book club reading so far.
I think this one might please more.
Some, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
But the last one's going to be a show now, so I'm excited for that, actually.
Yeah. And don't forget the interview. We have the interview directly following this episode with David Weiner, the writer and director of In Search of Darkness series, which I will now be in the credits of part 3. There was a campaign that if you back the project, you get your name in the credits. And I also got the trilogy Blu-ray coming to me, but unfortunately it ended at Halloween, so the episode came out after. It's just the way it was. I'd already edited and everything the other episode, so
Nice.
That's cool, Steve, but it's not Shark Exorcist
I know.
producer. Cool.
right. Exactly.
Very true.
All right. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram. Check out our Discord. That's where it's happening. And thanks for listening. And we'll catch you next time. Bye.
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 All right.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Horror Squad podcast, where tonight we bring you a very special guest. He is the writer-director of the awesome In Search of Darkness docuseries, which will be coming with its 3rd and final chapter, focusing on deeper cuts and straight to VHS films. David Weiner. David, thank you very much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Hey, it's my pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. So I'm going to cut right to the chase. Can you tell us a little bit about the In Search of Darkness series and what it's all about, how you got involved in the project?
Yeah, sure. The In Search of Darkness series, which is currently available on Shudder, In Search of Darkness Part 1 and In Search of Darkness Part 2, and Amazon Prime, and I think AMC Plus as well. It is the brainchild of Robin Block, the executive producer of these films. He has a company called Creator VC, which is a small but impressive company where we put together documentaries driven by community entertainment. And what that means is that, they're crowdfunded projects. In Search of Darkness, In Search of Darkness Part 2, we're doing a sci-fi one called In Search of Tomorrow. Did In Search of the Last Action Heroes, taking these genre topics and setting them in a decade and telling the story of the decade. It all started from simple beginnings, and it just kind of exploded in terms of the length and the scope of these things. But for those who are unaware, we get anywhere between 50 and 60 people from the era, experts about the era, directors, writers, composers, actors, special effects folks who were there to tell their stories, not only about their own projects, 80s horror and so on, and genre films, but talk about the ones that they really love. And it becomes a big celebration for all of us fans.
Awesome. I absolutely loved the first 2 parts of this series. You go really in depth into the horror genre, focusing on the 80s and all of the great movies that came out of that decade. What will you bring us in part 3 that is going to be different from the other 2 parts? And can you give us a little tease of some of the titles that'll be featured in it?
Yeah, sure. Well, part 1 really kind of focused on the franchises and big heavy hitters of 80s horror. There were plenty of eclectic titles. I mean, there's for every Shining, there was a Company of Wolves, for every Bloody Valentine, for every Friday the 13th, there was, Society by Brian Yuzna, or Dolls by Stuart Gordon. But the problem with covering a decade, even if you have 4.5 hours, when you're going chronologically year by year, you can only fit so many per year before you have to get to the next year. And when you're only focusing on the movies themselves, there's only so many before you get to larger context chapters that you want to talk about: the heroes, the villains, the final girl, the effects, the VHS era, all that kind of stuff. So we kind of started that formula in the first one. And then with the second one, we got to the more straight to video stuff. We broadened our scope to a lot more international titles. And I think the people who might have wished that there was more of that in the first one, they got it in the second one. But by the time we get to this third one, which is really by popular demand, because I kind of thought after part 2 that might be the end of it, people who really enjoy this format and are using it to curate their own lists around holiday season, or revisit films, or look at them from an entirely different lens, decades later after they came out. It leaves the fact that this decade had hundreds and hundreds of movies that came out, either theatrically or straight to video, or even shot on video by, with the indie spirit of, 2 dimes to rub together and a lot of creative energy. And a lot of those we still have yet to get to. And there's still lots of theatrical films that we haven't gotten to as well. So the idea is really to sort of tackle a lot of those additional movies. I can't tell you what's in it because you are going to tell me what's in it. The idea and the conceit of In Search of Darkness Part 3 and the crowdfunding campaign we're doing now that goes until Halloween at midnight is you guys get to choose. If you're a backer, you get all sorts of cool things. You get the movie. If you missed the first 2, you can get a complete set if you like. There's posters, there's, lots of cool things. There's a whole community though. And you get a credit in the movie, all things like that. But the community is going to be tasked with saying, these are my favorite movies and you haven't gotten to them yet. Please cover it in the way that you do it. And based on the results that we get, easily half or 2/3 of this film is going to be driven by what the fans want and what the horror community wants. And I really can't wait to see what everyone comes up with, because the more ridiculous, the better.
That's awesome. I love that idea that you're kind of, putting it to the fans to, kind of close out this amazing series and stuff.
I think it's real important. Just a little bit more about that is that so many people have been so vocal about, I love this, but I wish you covered that. And you know what? Me too. I so many times when we did part 1, there was so much material. There's a lot of material that we carried over to part 2. We did part 2. It's a lot of material that still had nowhere to go and is sitting in movie segment limbo, crying and waiting for their opportunity to shine. And so it's nice to be able to, when people say, I love this, but boy, it would have been nice if you did Rawhead Rex, Me too, I would love to do that. I've tried to do Extra twice, Extra will finally see the light of day. There are certain movies that just need to be discussed and introduced to people who don't know them very well. And, the fact that I get to really be told what to do is something I really would like.
That's amazing. You covered a lot of films in the first 2 parts of this series, and I'm curious, is there any that you discovered through making this process that you became a big fan of, or that you didn't know about and you got to see it and you thought, oh, this is great? Are there any recommendations you would give to our audience of things you discovered?
So many of them. I am a horror fan like anyone else, and as any horror fan knows, there's varying degrees of fandom, and out of all of us who love very specific subgenres and specific movies, we all have our particular tastes. Oh, that's a little too heavy for me. Oh, that's a little too light for me. Oh, this is not strange enough. Oh, this is too mainstream, whatever it may be. And so I had seen a very healthy dose, being a 70s kid and an 80s teen. I saw a lot of this stuff, first run. But there's a lot of this stuff, on a Friday night, figuring out what I wanted in the video store. And the one title I wanted, they didn't have. So I finally went to that title that had great art and promised, gore and nudity and profanity and untoward things. And I'm like, all right, it's time to finally get around to this. But there was a lot of stuff that I just said, yeah, I turned my nose up at it, So when I finally got to making the In Search of Darkness movies, I got to revisit some of these things that I totally bypassed the first time, sometimes just by the box art alone. Like Brian Yuzna's Society is a good example of that, because I always saw that box art and I just said, this looks like, Beverly Hills 90210 something. I don't, I'm just not interested. And then I only found out later how twisted and surreal and odd and wonderful it is. And that's one of my favorites now. And Chopping Mall is another one. I always thought Chopping Mall, I'd seen enough, zombie dismemberment movies where I was like, Chopping Mall, this just looks like, shopping and teens chopped up at the mall. I can pass on this. It's always been like on the back burner. And it wasn't until many years, actually, it wasn't until In Search of Darkness, Part 1, and prepping for it, because I knew I was going to talk to Kelly Maroney and Barbara Crampton, that I finally said, all right, it's time to watch Chopping Mall. And I'm like, well, Johnny Five Robot meets the Terminator. There's no, this is entirely different than what seems to be implied in the, in the artwork. So there's several that I enjoyed for the first time. There are several that I gave a very new look at, a more fair shake at, because, I turned up my nose at it at the time. I just, I don't want to name names to to get anyone upset about that. But discovering new stuff is very, very cool for me. But a lot of it for me was really sort of validating, this is a better movie than I remember it being, or it's not as good, but it really fits in this entire story of a decade.
Amazing. You got to work with a lot of well-known horror legends during this project. Names like Robert Englund, Linnea Quigley, Tom Savini. What was it like working with those legends? And did they surprise you with the info that they gave you, the trivia about those old movies from the 80s?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been at this for a long time, so for me, it's really great on two levels. Just even having them say yes is very cool. And then, sitting down with them, I don't really, I get a little butterfly nervous sometimes with certain people, but I've crossed paths with a number of these people in the past when I was either at Entertainment Tonight or working as the editor of Famous Monsters, Filmland magazine. And I've just interviewed a lot of folks. So for me, I was chomping at the bit that these people were coming to sit down for us for our film for easily an hour or more. And once they realize that they can talk about anything that they want, there's no limit to the tangents and rabbit holes we can go down. And they could talk about more than just the projects they've worked on, but they could just talk about their love of the genre. They really, really open up, I mean, when I sat down with Robert Englund, I had met him before, but this, we weren't able to get him until Part 2. And he told me, I'm sorry I wasn't in Part 1 if you tried to get me, but I'm happy to be in Part 2. Tom Savini said the same thing. He's, and I tried to get Tom for the first one, and we could just never get our schedules and stars to align. And it's kind of funny because he's just like, why wasn't I in the first one? I'm like, Tom, don't you remember we were trying to schedule something, but you were busy doing Creepshow and traveling and this, that, and the other thing. He's like, oh yeah, okay. Well, hey, I'm happy to be here now. And the more time you have with these folks, the more you could talk about things, and the more you know about their projects other than the big heavy hitters, the more they are like, oh yeah, that's right, I did do that. Oh yeah, oh, you know about that? Oh, you've seen it? And you get these wonderful responses where they're just pleased to talk about their careers and what they've learned and their trajectories. And I look back at all of these interviews and they're just pleasant and fun and super cool. And the biggest crime is when they tell this wonderfully spun long anecdote, and I think to myself, oh man, I can't fit this in.
Right.
How am I going to trim this down and keep the heart of what they're talking about in there and give a piece of that when I know I can't, give this 7-minute to 10-minute story. It's complete due.
Right. Something I really enjoy personally from this series is not only do you have these big horror legends, but you also have outside of the box famous people who are known for other things outside of horror, like James Rolfe, Chris Jericho, Corey Taylor. What are you looking for to find kind of people that are outside of the genre to give their perspective as of horror films?
What's important is that they are fans through and through, and at first it was really assembling people who were either part of this movement in the 80s, you know, in the front or behind of the camera, in the front of the camera or behind of the camera, or who were just experts in the field, you know, journalists and, you know, so on. But when it came down to it, you can really tap into other audiences if they have a really big audience, who are tangentially into horror, but they also love the other stuff they do. You know, James Rolfe, you've got, you know, Angry Video Game Nerd, you know, Chris Jericho, you know, you've got the whole wrestling crowd, you know, Corey Taylor, you've got, you know, the Slipknot and Stone Sour crowds. But fundamentally, there's this very robust crossover with horror fans who love that stuff. And if they are not necessarily dialed into what we're doing, they could also introduce their audiences to what we're doing, and have their passion, which is absolutely genuine, for, you know, their love for these films, you know, coming through. And it's also just really a welcome expansion of the types of people we talk to for this celebration of an era.
Awesome. I'd like to know a little bit about you, David. What are some of your favorite horror films, and which ones really kind of gave you an appreciation for the genre when you were growing up?
I have been a monster kid ever since I was a kid. I just, from the very beginnings, I don't even know how it started, but if they were on TV, I was watching, you know, the Universal Monsters. I was watching all the greatest hits, you know, but I'd look at like Frankenstein and Dracula, which I love, but then I'd look at like Creature from the Black Lagoon and I'd say, well, that's clearly a monster and not a man in a makeup. You know, I would start, you know, taking a closer look when I was a kid, just at the differences in terms of the design and the storytelling, you know, but, you know, it didn't matter how big or small, because I was a huge Godzilla and kaiju and, you know, Japanese, you know, Ultraman Throwdown type of fan as well. But I grew up on that stuff and I really, really loved it. And like I said, I was a 70s kid. So while I was just swimming in the warmth of all these wonderful monster movies, and, the mole people and, you know, Roger Corman stuff, you know, Lost Woman and, you know, The Crawling Eye and all the Hammer stuff that would make its way to the TV. If it was on, I would watch it. But then, because it was the 70s, I was exposed to all this, you know, publicity, even though I was too young to see a lot of this stuff, for The Omen, The Exorcist, Jaws, the Amityville Horror, you know, and all this stuff would eventually make it to TV. And I don't know why I was allowed to, but I got to watch it. And it warped my kiddie mind in the best possible way possible. And it made me just obsessed with this stuff. You know, John Carpenter's Halloween really, really, really rocked my world, because that introduced me to the whole slasher genre. And I realized that a monster could be just a guy with a knife and a mask. And that really changed things as well. And then American Werewolf in London was kind of like this convergence of, you know, the monster movies I love, but the sort of slasher realism that I was starting to get ingratiated into. You know, courtesy of John Landis, and then Howling and things like that. And so I was starting to pay attention to how do they do this. Ever since Star Wars, my movie going changed from, wow, I've been entertained, to how did they do it, and I want to find out how. So, you know, it kind of goes to that, you know, but I'm always discovering new movies that I wanted to get to, and I have my staple favorites, you know, lined up tonight. I'm going to watch one of my annual holiday favorites, which is Village of the Damned. You know, that's next for me. I just love that movie. I can't even tell you how many times I've seen it, but I feel compelled to watch certain movies. And you mentioned Tom Savini, his remake of
Night of the
Living Dead is absolutely superb. And when it's October, I want to rewatch that. I'm compelled to and drawn to that.
It's actually the movie that got me into horror, is the remake of Night of the Living Dead.
Oh yeah,
But I grew up in Montreal, and the only copy I could find was on TV at like midnight in French. So for the first like 5 years, I had a recording of the French version of it. It wasn't until later that I got to appreciate the actual English version.
I had that. That was one of the earlier VHSs that I owned, versus rented. I'm like, I gotta have that. This is a staple.
Yeah, it's awesome. So on our podcast, we're doing a top of the decade of the 1980s next summer. So I'd like to know, as someone who knows a lot about 80s horror, having gone through this process, what films absolutely need to be on that list?
Of the top of the 80s?
Top of the 80s, yeah, for a horror.
How many choices do I get?
Yeah, we're doing a top 10. It's hard. We're having a hard time of it. So I figured if you could throw us a couple titles out there that you think should be on those lists.
Yeah, that's very okay. I'm going to preface it with, it will change every day with a different list, because there are so many. And I'm one of those guys who, when you say what's your favorite movie, I freeze like a deer in the headlights, because there are too many. There are too many. So I have a hard time. I always feel like if I offer one up, then I'm neglecting a bunch of others. But that being said, I will just pop at the top of my head. Let's see. In those, do I put it in order?
No, you don't have to. You can just no specific order.
And they've got to be 80s, huh?
Yeah, they have to be 80s.
All right. Reanimator, Evil Dead 2, Phantasm 2, The Shining, An American Werewolf in London. That's 5. Let's see what else is coming to my brain. The Hunger. They all swim through my head and then they're gone, because I should know, right? Because I know hundreds of them, but then
it's tough. It's a very difficult task.
But I'm determined to give you 10. So I'm going to keep going. And I want to mention that ones that I haven't mentioned already in this. The Changeling, John Carpenter's Christine, The Dead Zone, which is arguably horror or not. It's definitely creepy. And let's throw in a Cronenberg, I guess, The Fly.
Awesome.
Yeah. I want to say like everything from Dead Ringers to Scanners to, to a lot of the 70s stuff, but I'm not allowed. So
right. Yeah.
That was painful. I just have to declare that was fun, but painful for me.
Yeah, that's how we feel too. So we're going down since we started a podcast each decade. So we did the 2010s, 2000s, and 1990s this year. So 80s is going to be tough though. That's the motherlode.
I mean, I want to keep going now that I think about it. I mean, like those are a little, arguably for the horror fans, those are a little more well known. But I mean, Return of the Living Dead, Fright Night, Evil Speak. Sorry, I'll just stop now.
It's tough. So you've now made, you will have made after this process 3 documentaries, about horror. Have you thought of actually making your own horror film? Does that interest you at all, or do you like kind of the documentary space?
Yeah, I've worked. I went to film school in Ithaca in upstate New York, and I graduated and pointed my car west. Ithaca, New York, drove cross country and went to Los Angeles and worked on movie sets for 4 years with dreams of working on movies and making my own. But the realities of working in Hollywood are, you come to realize no one's going to hand you a movie to make, so you got to create your own opportunity. So I started screenwriting. And I wrote a bunch of scripts, and I got into development and did a lot of script coverage, and I became a story analyst, and I became much better with that. And so I cranked out a bunch of scripts, but before any of those caught on, I got caught up with all the .com boom and bust and online. That all just sort of became available to me and took me on a path more towards online journalism and journalism. And so now I'm making these documentary films, and they're wonderful. And I think to myself, how cool would it be to make movies again? Because I am kind of making movies, but I'm just not, rolling and cut on a set necessarily. Arguably, if I am sitting in a chair, we say, are we rolling? Okay. But I would love to do it. I would love to do it. And I wouldn't say no if someone handed me something. But in the current climate of the way things are, that's the reality of my situation. I'm very happy, and I have a very full plate. Robin Block, if he has his way, has generously said, "I will keep giving you movies as long as you want to make movies for me." So, how that twists my arm. That's just, a dream come true when I'm working with Robin Block at Creator VC. But one of these days, when I have a little more freedom with my family life and my COVID, cautiousness, I'd love to get on a set and start making some, live action features in the genre vein, sci-fi, horror, or a hybrid of the two.
Awesome. So, In Search of Darkness Part 3, where can people follow the project? Where can people follow you so that we can see what goes on in your career and hopefully see a horror film from you one day? Can you give us like your socials or where?
Yeah, wait, you want my social security number? Okay. So yeah, you can. My socials are. I'm the most interactive on Twitter, so you can find me at Tiki Ambassador, and I have a genre site where it's just sort of pop culture brain droppings. It's called It Came From Blog, and I have socials for It Came From Blog. It's at It Came From Blog on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. So those are my socials, and if you ever want to interact with me, I'm pretty responsive on Twitter the most, but the other ones I am as well. As far as In Search of Darkness, it's hard to say In Search of Darkness after you say It Came From Blog a number of times. In Search of Darkness, you go to 80shorrordoc.com, 80s. And that's where you can find everything about what we're up to. The current campaign, which is a crowdfunding campaign for In Search of Darkness 3, it's essentially pre-ordering it, but you get in on the ground floor of being part of the process over the next year to help make this movie. So it's not a question of like you buy it and then you wait a year. We're going to intermittently be meeting with all the backers to share what we're up to, show pieces of the movie. Like I said, you guys are choosing, so we're going to get that whole process started where you guys suggest and then vote, and then I start working on what you tell me to work on, which is super cool. So between now and Halloween, that's the time to do it. Check out 80shorrordoc.com and my sci-fi movie 80sci-fi-doc.com. That's In Search of Tomorrow, and that's coming out in the spring. And you can go there to follow it, with all our socials. So all the socials are Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, and they're all either 80s Sci-Fi Doc or 80s Horror Doc.
Thank you very much, David. It was an absolute pleasure. I can't wait to see what you do with Part 3 and see what else you do in the rest of your career. So thank you very much for coming on the show.
All right. Well, excellent.
Right. Thanks a lot.
Nice chatting with you, and take care. Okay.
Take care. Bye.
All right, bye.